And we are recording. This is going to be the last episode before December 25th, better known as Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everybody that is watching. I hope this season isn't stressing you out as much as it has been me, but it is. I am grateful to have things to be stressed about. You know what I mean? I have a car that doesn't run, but at the same time, I have a car. So, you have to look at the cup half full in these instances and whatnot. Jeremy may get upset because he got gum stuck in his beard, but he does have a beard nonetheless, which is really winning when you look at it. Uh, as always, I am Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, heavily homebrewed, to tell our story. And the awesome folks here joining me on this Sunday afternoon, you're here to help me write this story, one chapter at a time. We'll do introductions. We'll be running Plan A today, thus why I have the water temple background. There it is. So remember, when you can't quite visualize where we're at, it's right behind me. Virtually, of course. Let's go ahead and start with Mr. McGuffey.
Be playing Bastille, the once again rogue turned celestial warlock. His patron's an angel, and or patron. That's weird.
You know what? It's all good. It's a small thing. That's cool.
And he is a sun elf in our game, but he's actually veiled because he has no idea of his past culture. So
correct. And the other word for sun elf is, I know. Inspiration, if you can remember.
It's Aurora. They're from Aurora.
Auroran. Yes.
I was about to say they're from the Auroran Glades, but I was like,
There you go. Thusly named after the people from that area. Thank you, man. That's awesome. And by the way, just so you know, I always like giving Danny the first ups on there because it's tough to shift gears from introducing one character to the next character. It's hard for me to do too. So it's all good, Danny. You handle it with freaking poise. Colby, let's see if you can do better. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm Colby, and I'll be playing Kiltusk, who is a barbarian / ranger, and his official class is Fierce Arrow.
Yes.
And he has a beast companion who is a Blaze Tooth. Blade Tooth Allosaurus.
Yep.
His name is Loki, and he's basically the creature right behind me.
Correct. Didn't we decide that Loki is outside helping with the battle?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I sent him to what's her name?
Valdera.
Yeah.
Valdera, and then Sean's character, Celine, is out there fighting as well. Okay, so moving forward, Bella, please go ahead.
I am Bella. I am playing Sylowen, the Maiden of Song Bard turned Skylancer, who is navigating these narrow walls with her half wingspan.
Well put, man. Well put. Just for clarification, were you ever able to get that program working again, or is it still off the table?
Currently off the table still, yeah.
Okay, we'll get back there. The slideshow is still awesome. It works out just fine. But having the animated picture of her was really, really cool too. But we'll get back here when we can because, once again, the world is not a perfect place and things break. Last and certainly not least is Jeremy Keaton. Please go ahead.
I will be playing the part of Mirk, who pilots Brahmus, a giant arcane fortress of angelic battle armor. Forgive me for the evening if I am not super robust or loud. I am currently nursing a toothache that I've yet to figure out the origin of. So
that's rough, buddy.
But I'm here.
Do what you can. I will try to keep it minimal for you, as Mirk isn't a big talker anyway. So, yeah, toothaches are fucking just gonna be a nightmare, bud. So I feel for you.
It won't be too bad. It's not so much a toothache as whatever toothache I had yesterday has caused all this to get swollen. It's almost like I just got out of the dentist yesterday.
Antibiotics and something is what you're going to need to do, because if you're swollen up, you've got infection, sir.
And some hot coffee.
And some hot coffee. That's true. That's true.
Speaking of, I'm gonna go get real quick.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get us caught up, and we'll see here in just a minute. Okay, real D&D people, real D&D. People pee and they get coffee, and kids cry, and it's okay. So it's been, holy shit, 4 weeks since we've got to do this one. But man, like I say, life's been happening. Plan B had a good one. The other night we had a great one with Colby and Jeremy as they're going through all kinds of shenanigans there after the storms kind of calmed down with that whole group. Now that the battle's kind of over and the people from the Netherfell went back, they've got their own interesting thing going on too. So, but to focus on this one, when we were doing this, like I say, almost 4 weeks ago, you were still exploring the inside of the water temple of Yaota. And we believe we've seen Yaota, or at least her spirit, in here a couple different times. And she has worked as kind of a guide to us in a way. And she also seems to be some kind of mentor for Karsu, which is the young Atladi scion that is currently with us traveling through here. So when we're on the map, if you see a little square that says NPC, that is Karsu's place. And I try to play her to the best of my ability and put in her 2 cents as we navigate through this thing. Let's go ahead and bring up the map of where we left off last time and see if we can get ourselves reacculated here. And there we are. And I chose this shot of this for the simple reason that kind of captures what everybody's doing. And then we're going to get ready and zoom in. So at this moment, Brahmus, down here at the bottom, had just discovered that when he was able to put these gears into the back of this large construct-looking Seraphim that looks very similar to him, only with minor styling differences, right? That he was able to animate it to make it perform a certain function. And as it did, it poked its large polearm down inside of this hole, releasing a trigger. And you guys were able to hear water and things rush through the floor. You heard gears turning, stone grinding, but you weren't able to see the exact result of it. But it did unlock or activate something. Now, there are 4 of these in this room, which is important to keep in mind from everybody. This is only but one of them. Okay? Also, a note that when he tried to pull the gears back from the device, they had become bound to it. Once they were in there and began to move and get integrated back into this construct, he was not able to reverse that process and take them and reuse them. Okay? Now, everyone try to keep in mind what kind of supplies you have on your person. Okay? I don't want to get overly caught up in all that kind of thing, because that's not what's real fun here. The fun is the exploration, the discovery. I don't want to nitpick on how many ounces of water do you think you're carrying? Well, what did you do with that one thing? Were you carrying it underneath your left arm? Well, you know, I don't want to get caught up in all that, because that's not what the fun part of this is. But when we're going around unlocking this place, it is an important part. So please try to keep the best track of it as you can. And I will be understanding moving forward. That fair for everybody? Awesome. Colby? Any reactions? Oh, there he is. Okay, good deal. All right, so that covers what Brahmus was doing. Killtusk had went over here while everyone was kind of working on to their own means and was making sure that nothing was sneaking up and entering these rooms that we had cleared. So you were on lookout over on this side. Okay? The group had discovered a set of descending stairs that had become apparent once you guys rolled a perception and then an investigation check and passed very well, that seems to lead down under the water to some other chamber. Okay, but you're not quite sure. Danny had cleverly poured water into the mouths of these two ancient Atladi totems in a way to reveal the pathway forward. They looked a little different than others. And pouring the water into their mouths was the way to make these work and activate. As he snuck forward, he saw two locked doors in front of him. Stone doors like we've opened up before. And then as he looks to the left, he could see an Atladi spirit. And you did read T16, didn't you, Danny?
Yeah.
Because I remember you read something in the voice of the guy, the new God of War character, Kratos. Yes, but you didn't read this one, did you?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the chance to do that now. Okay. With or without the Kratos voice, it's up to you. It's all good. Let me go ahead and bring up text. That is T16. And this will give you an idea what you're looking at here. Okay, I'll tell you when to start. Let me get it centered first, and then we will take off from there. Give me just a minute. And there you go, buddy. That's what you see when you turn left.
Ascending set of steps leads to the raised circular room to the left. As you inspect the room, you see two large levers affixed atop two cylindrical pedestals. Vibrant gems and a series of Atladi symbols wrap around the base of each structure. Medium-sized cavity lays open amongst the array of symbols, shapes, and precious stones. Against the far wall, you see the ghostly image of yet another Atladi warrior leaning against a semicircular stone slab with its back to you.
There you go. I know, it's neat to do that voice, but some of those words are tongue twisters, aren't they? You're like, it's all good, man. Making it fun, one story at a time. That's what we
That's
say.
all Greek to me.
That's right. That's fair. That's fair. I know, Jeremy's like, wah, wah, wah. I want to get that effect and put in the videos. We had said...
This many dads on here, if you don't appreciate a dad joke, that's wrong.
No shit. You're right.
I got him.
That's fair. That's fair. But we had said that this thing noticed you as you were done playing around and being hesitant last time we were here, and this thing had turned and faced you. Okay? Now, there was this tense moment where it has noticed you, but we're going to get back to you in just a moment, okay? Okay. Sylowen. Do you remember exactly? I think you were helping like investigate or look at one of these statues to try to uncover some things, but I don't think you had the most successful rolls, if I'm not mistaken. Can you remember? It's so funny because everyone else is not going to get to see you, and I'm sitting here seeing your expression of this. It's awesome. But do you remember exactly what she was doing other than that in this moment?
I think her focus was on Karsu and Brahmus. I think. And I
Okay.
think Brahmus was doing his thing, so it's kind of more hovering or helping out Karsu as needed.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do it this way. I want to go ahead and have Danny and this thing roll initiative. Okay. And if Danny does something that would draw the attention of you all, well, then I'll have you roll initiative and try to get to him if you so choose. Okay? Or, if this goes down without any issue, you guys as the group need to decide what you're doing while Danny is exploring this other room. Because if he goes up these steps over here, you guys can't see him. You know what I mean? So this could be a whole different world to him right now. He could be one-on-one with this bad boy. Who knows what's happening here? So we kind of have to play it that way. So for just the hell of it, roll initiative, Danny, and tell me what you get.
21.
A 21. Okay, write this down.
I just missed telling you I had to do something stupid.
What was it?
3.
Well, right on. Okay. Let me see how our buddy is doing.
Get her away, Remy. You biting the steps?
Okay. So, you go first, Bastille, but barely. I'm talking
puts it-
20 to 21.
He puts
So-
his hands up, and he has not summoned his daggers because he can do that with just a thought.
Correct.
So he puts his hands up and he goes, I'm escorting the Scion. She, the heir to Yoda. She is in the other room. This is your one chance to let me pass, as the others have when escorted by the Atlati, but also accompany me.
Do you say that? You don't speak its language in particular. You're just using common, correct?
Mm-hmm. But they probably recognize Scion, Yota.
Okay, right. That's fair. I want you to roll a persuasion check with disadvantage. And tell me what you get. You're muted, my friend. What'd you get?
18.
An 18.
Good job, Harley.
Colby, just for the fun of it, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6. 18 is the DC to beat. If you beat it, he is not persuaded by the sweet words of this rogue. But if you fail,
15.
he failed. You don't know that all the tension has de-escalated here, but it pauses and sets its bow down, aiming not at you any longer, but down to the side, and seems to be scanning slowly back and forth, looking for the Scion that you speak of.
Arsu, please come forward, slowly.
Okay. As you do this motion, Sylowen, let's go to you.
He keeps his hands up like this, but I'm holding an action, and he's going to start, I guess, mumbling a little bit, and just on the verge of if that guy charges him, he's going to wait till he gets close, and Misty step to the other side of the room.
Hold! Hold! I get it, man. I love it. Okay. So, with that, Sylowen, you hear Bastille saying this from the room beside you guys. He's asking Karsu to come forward. She seems to stare at him with awe just for a minute, and then she kind of gets an understanding. What are you doing in this instance as Karsu looks over to you and takes a deep breath, and you see the eyes go back over white as she gets into mode and begins to walk into this room? What is it that Sylowen's doing?
I'm trying to think, because I know I had put invisibility on her at one point, and I'm assuming that I think I probably have dropped it at this point and can't remember.
Yeah.
But she's walking with her, probably fairly close behind, to be kind of there with.
Okay. And is there anything you would like to ready as you kind of get the idea as you cross this corner? I would like for you to do me I'll let you do perception or investigation, your choice, to kind of get a gauge as to what's going on up here.
Let's see, perception or what?
Investigation, one or the other.
Okay. Investigation. That is a 10 plus 3, 13.
13.
Mm-hmm.
Which is better than, tying your shoe and shit like that. It's good. 10 does basic. 13's getting there. It's closer to 15 than a 12. That's all I'm saying. Having said that, when you see Bastille's hands up, and he's looking over at her. And he seems to be staring into this chamber. You get the sense that he has encountered something. He's trying to make peace. That's the impression that you get here. You know, and it's so weird, Sylowen, because even though you have seen several of these spirits, you know, in this place and encountered them, it doesn't make it any less eerie or creepy when you know that they're just right there. Like they could be looking through the walls at you all, guarding this place eternally at any moment. And for him to be calm enough to be hands up and trying to do these things, it's kind of a chilling, tense kind of moment. You understand what I mean? As that happens, I will give you a chance to have some kind of reaction or say a phrase or ready anything if you would like. And if not, I will move on to the next person. You just let me know what your call is, what you're waiting on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see, because I'm looking back at her class, like the different stuff she can do, because it's been a minute.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
I think she can do Emblem of it, Invocation at this point, yeah?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And with the arc, let's see. This is level 5 with she's 7 Lancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she can select, you know, one of the spells stuff and then put it on her lance.
Yes, you can.
So I think one of the ones that I could pick is Dispel Magic.
Oh, that's a neat combination. Fuck yeah, good job, Bella.
Yeah, because I imagine they're pure beings of magic currently, so I think she'll probably have her spear ready that if it starts doing funky shit, she'll throw it at him. Or if he's triggering something.
That's an interesting take on it. That'll be cool. We'll say you have that. You've taken your turn to invoke that. Okay? So you have the Dispel Magic into your lance currently. And it will be unleashed upon your first contact with a target.
When the target has displayed aggression.
Okay, that is your trigger to go attack it, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That way you're getting the spell's effects, plus you're getting the damage at the same time. That's neat. Easy, Bastille. Hold on. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. So, I'm going to move on to Kill Tusk at this moment. And while I'm doing that, Bella, just give that another look over and make sure you've got the functions of that all down right. And this will be your moment to kind of do just a touch of studying. I think you've got it down now. I think you've got it. That's great. Okay, Kill Tusk. You would see the group begin as you keep looking back and forth, you know what I mean? As you do, you look over and you would see the posture of Karsu change as she was somewhat in eyesight with you, and she begins to move up into this as Sylowen begins to follow her. Roll me a perception or an investigation check. Your choice.
We're gonna do perception because I am proficient in that skill.
Yes, you are.
I got a 14.
Okay. Not bad. They're going forward to passively interact with something. They didn't take off in fear or haste, but they're moving forward to deal with something that has their attention. Doesn't seem to be immediate danger, but something's going on. Are you holding tight to your post? Are you going to join them for backup? Or are you readying something? Give me an idea of what you're doing, and then we'll move on to Brahmus and Jeremy's character.
I forget. There's the 2 Lottie spirits still by where the bridge broke.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Say it one more time, sir.
Remind me, are the two Lottie spirits still by where the bridge broke, where we went across it?
Let me see. They are not. They have faded off and have moved to somewhere else, which gives you a bit of an uneasy feeling, because these things seem to fade in and out of here and transition as ghosts would. Like, they don't have to exactly pay attention to the physicality of this place. And in losing sight of them, you have this realization that they can kind of appear and disappear at different places in this, maybe having short moments of them interacting in some way that they would have in life. But that's the only thing that ties them to the rigid structure of this place. It's just their memory of how they used to be when they were living. When they all of a sudden get drawn to somewhere else, they fade and they reappear in different places. You've seen it happen twice now. But no, they are no longer in your sight.
Alright, then I think Kilitos would go back into where it divides, where the path splits at the water.
Okay. Do you want to be above, behind Sylowen, or below on the Brahmus side? Or do you want to just do it?
I
You
think
just
he
want to do a cannonball? Cannonball, and just get in it. What do you want to do?
I think he'll go to the bottom, knowing that there's already 3 people in the top part, and it's just Brahmus in the bottom.
Okay, I will give you a moment if you want to say something to Brahmus, which seems to have his back turned. As you're standing here, you can see him to a degree. I'll say you walk up to here just to get an eyesight of him, and you can see him interacting as he has just let his hands off of a gear that he has lodged into the back of this large Seraphim construct kind of thing. I'll give you a moment to say something to him briefly here about what you've seen and what's going on.
Does he know that? Does Kiltas know that? That he already used that one and can't get it out, or was he still on the entrance when all that went down?
I'm not quite sure I follow. I apologize. What are you wanting to know, sir?
Like, does Kiltas know that Brahmus can't remove the gears, or was already at the entrance, or like when I was already playing guard?
You don't know that. All you know
Okay.
is that you can see that he's put the gears in it. And
Right.
now he's removing his hands from it as if he is done with the work that he went in there to do, but he's still staring at the back of this thing. But he has removed his hands. That's what you're catching the end of, is when the large mechanical hands of Brahmus seem to lower. And
Right.
that's what you're catching him in the middle of.
I think Kiltas would say to Brahmus, like, "Did they work?"
One did. But once we insert the gears, they're stuck. So hopefully there's enough for all 3.
That's what that was what I was afraid of.
With that, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with what's going on north of you all. Okay.
Bast changes his posture immediately, even further peaceful, and turns actually towards the Scion, towards Karsu, and says, "Come quick. Come. I need you to translate."
Okay. Okay, outstanding. Just a minute. My daughter's hollering for me in the middle of a recording. So, just 1 second.
We should all hum Christmas music. That way this is in the part that he's probably going to have to edit out anyway.
Awesome. And that was easy and quick. Okay. I go like this because there's people like Scott Rogers that can read lips and stuff. And if I'm yelling obscenities at my children, I don't want people on Facebook on here to be like, "That's a terrible parenting." It's like, no, it's not what I was doing. We were talking about pizza rolls. Dad stuff. So anyway, as you do that, Karsu, as you would look to her, she would oblige, and she would begin to walk with a little bit more haste. And as she comes around the corner,
And motion for you to come to us,
Okay. She does, and she comes to your side there, and she looks over at the spirit, and then the bow seems to lower even more. I'll give you one more chance to say something quick.
Tell him the one that can tame the Quetzalcoatl has been born and is fighting outside the temple right now.
Okay. So, as you tell her that, let me see something. Bella, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6. You need to beat a DC of a 15 and tell me what you get.
Come on, Bella.
That's a 17.
Good job. She's picking up what you're putting down, Bastille. So, as she gets ready to say that, mind you, I do not speak any kind of foreign language whatsoever, so laugh at me if you will. I'm probably saying dumb shit in some language you wouldn't understand, but as that happens, you hear this ghostly voice shout out from the thing as it passes, like pieces of the voices of these things that we discussed already don't travel normally. They almost travel like they're words stuck on pieces of wind that kind of float in, around, and past you. Sometimes when these things speak, the sounds can actually linger like wind is kind of wrapping around you. And as these words come from this ghost, they sound like they are ancient. And it says, Danny, because you can read anything but you can't understand anything, right? Okay. So you hear this, and you hear this kind of these words coming from this Atlati warrior as he's not completely put down the bow, but he's shaking it, and you're looking through the white, empty kind of eyes of this ghostly figure, the eyes looking out from the jaguar mask. And as he's saying that, Karsu respawns.
There we go.
Jeremy, I want you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8 with advantage on the d20. And tell me what you get. As Karsu turns, sticks her chin out and takes a deep breath and begins to spout powerful words back at this entity. Okay? And did we discuss before that she has a staff with her? She begins to do that, and you see the same kind of ghostly glow seem to form around her staff is what this being seems to be made of. And it's also the same kind of power that Yeota seems to hold. Okay?
Tell him we need their help. We have to clear this temple quickly because what's left of your people are dying outside.
Okay. We're going to do this roll first because that's fitting too much. But we'll get there.
18.
18 is good. Just a minute and I'll tell you if that worked.
Is that with advantage, Jeremy?
Okay. That did work. So as that happens, you see this being begin to put its bow away. And as that's happening, Bastille, you begin to quickly and frantically try to say these words to her in that moment to squeeze out this last minute bit of information as you're having these thoughts. Bastille's starting to put things together. We could use these people. We need their spirits, like Lord of the Rings, and all the ghosts come off the ship and just wipe the fucking Yeah, I'm with you, right? I want you to roll
There we go.
an Arcana check for me, Danny, please.
Arcana, all right. That would be a 25.
Okay. As you say these words and you're playing them out just the way you just did a minute ago, which was just perfect, right? Karsu looks to you with a bit of strain. And she looks and she begins to say these words as she extends her staff out and begins to say the word strongly. You know what I mean? For a young person to speak in this tone and to have this kind of power and magnitude is very inspiring in this moment. But as that happens, you can see this Atlati warrior. Just a moment, I'm going to show you. This is number 4. as she's saying these words and you're looking, and Danny, you start peering into it to see if it's having some kind of effect. With that high of an Arcana check, you feel like the time to break through and have a communication with this being has passed. Now, with that high of a check, I'll tell you this. If you were to use something like Toll the Dead, or you were to use some kind of spell that would have you speaking with something that passed away, you believe you could break through to this small window and speak to them. But once its soul is here for a purpose, okay, with the 25. So use this however you want, and I'll work with you if you get super clever, right? But since it had one interaction with you all and decided it was peace instead of war, you get one interaction with these things. And you've used that to have it drop its weapon and let us know that we're not there. And that things are being taken care of by a warrior that has mastered handling the Takari. So that has passed on this one. As you say these words, it begins to move, and it goes through this wall, and it fades out and passes into the wall. Now, it may not be gone, but it's certainly not here any longer in this room. Okay, so awesome thought, but the next time you see one, you may have to say it a little faster. We get what I'm saying? That's what the dice have told me.
Oh, he just came up with it, so he couldn't do it any.
That's cool. That's real fucking cool. I like it, dude. Yeah.
He goes, crap, shit. He looks down and he goes, Karsu, the next time we get contact with one, we need to get their help. Instead of creeping around this thing, they could be opening doors for us, pointing us in the direction. They are your people. We're doing this wrong. They're not the enemy. The enemy is outside. You
hear this conversation, Sylowen, and I will let you guys now, you two openly roleplay this out. I will say this. For Karsu's point in this, she's thinking for a moment. She kind of puts her hand on her chin, and she's thinking about it.
Well, if nothing else, if they can exit the temple and fight alongside our people or out there.
She looks at you with a little bit of uncertainty, and she kind of shakes her head. And the way she comes across here, I'll just do it, and you decide. Bastille decides. She says, the rituals that they go through to bind their souls to this place are very simple and very clear. As for a soul to find a purpose beyond its years and time in the journey is a very tiring thing. I don't know how much we can ask of something set forth in such a simple way.
If only a god in here, then.
I may be able to. And she has a moment. Bella, roll me 1d20, 1d8, DC 15 or higher. Karsu just had an idea. Need you to tell me if it's gonna work. 1d20, 1d8. Come on! No?
I rolled a 2 and a 1.
Okay, so she thinks for just a moment, and she's kind of looking left and right, and she just can't quite figure out how to get them to act in a way other than what they had set planned. You know what I mean? Now, Sylowen, Bella, be part of the conversation here. If you think you have something to add to this, please do.
You just gotta.
I guess it's like one of those things where she may be like, just kind of overhearing, kind of being like, I'm trying to think how to verbalize this, because I hear all this And my thought process is like, oh, like ghost rules where like you're like stuck within the space that you were designated. Like, how like a ghost is stuck in a haunted house or different stuff like that, where like they're kind of framed within the temple walls rather than like getting to wander out. But I'm not sure how to phrase that.
It's all good.
But yeah, she may not be giving any input because of that fact where it's like, it's haunted house rules. It's not like ghosts can just like decide that they want to leave where their soul was bonded to and wander outside if they're stuck underneath.
Since you are a bard and you deal in magic a little bit, I'll let you either do an arcana or a religion check or some other check if you want to see if something dawns on you here.
Okay,
You choose and tell me why you're choosing that role. Please.
Okay, so they're both intelligence.
Yes.
So.
There's a deep sigh of, oh God, why am I still rolling, Brian? We know this doesn't work. It's all good.
I am not a good roller.
Dude,
so that's
you rolled like a fucking 20 at the end of the last episode.
I
You
don't know,
did.
man.
Give yourself a little pat on the back. I remember.
I rolled a 9, and that's +3, so a 12.
You can't help but think that there's a way. You know that Ignatius has talked about, being able to communicate with spirits and having them act on it. But these things in here seem to be, their purpose are to be guardians. They are narrow-minded in what their spirits can manifest in here. There is a certain window of time. These aren't mages that are floating spirits in here that can be bartered with and taught lessons after life. This is a primitive yet pretty awesome security system put up by ancient Atlantic warriors that died a particular way to put themselves in this position to be able to help. But it's narrow-minded. You can't see a way with that role to manipulate that.
Does with Kiltuck's Pinocho and your ability, can we convince them that the best way to guard the temple, to guard the purpose of the temple, is to get us through it? Because you're the last. This is it. There's no need to protect it if you go.
As you say all these things, in game the moment has passed to be able to re-roll. I hate that too, because you're thinking, you're collecting and things, because I can't just have you keep talking about it and re-rolling until we get what we want, unfortunately. So the feel in the room is we don't know for now, but whatever else you have to say, there may be other chances. Okay, so we'll move that forward. Is that fair, guys? Belle's like, no, it's not. We're going to do this.
No, it is. But I think it's like one of those things where it's like, I wonder if we need to find a location we haven't found yet where they laid down the groundwork for all the spirits being here. Like, so me as a player thinking like, hey, a security system has to be programmed from somewhere type thing.
Okay.
That I think she may make the connection of like, I don't think we could do anything now in here. But if there's somewhere deeper where they laid the instructions for these guys, then maybe there's something to do there.
Okay. Next time you roll,
we will give it a shot next time. After that, I'm going to cut my way through them because we've got to get out.
Yeah. With that, you get advantage the next time you do this, Sylowen, because you are onto something. Because it's fun, because Brian knows something that you don't, of course, and you are onto something with this.
Yeah.
Okay? So, real quick, before we continue, I'm going to pause this because food is done. I'm going to get that real quick, bring it down here, begin to feed, and then let me pause this real quick, and we will return just a minute in 3, 2, 1. Oh. Okay, I believe we're recording again. Nice. Want to make sure that this is working. Yep, we're recording. Okay, good deal. So, now that we have that accomplished, we're moving on to Jeremy. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into that. So, all this conversation's going on in Kiltusk. You can sense that they're having a debate about something in here. You're not able to make out all of what they're talking about, but there's some kind of puzzle piece that's being put together up here. Okay? Remember, you've read a description, Danny, about what this room looks like and what it entails. In that moment, Brahmus, what are you doing as you see Kiltus looking over his shoulder and you're hearing the echoes of heated, excited debate about prospects of things echoing into this chamber coming from above?
He's gonna look over his shoulder at Kiltusk. Bonif Tikakwa. Does this sound familiar to you?
Okay, Kiltus, do you know what he said, and do you have an answer for that?
What I heard was like unique, it was something unique. That like, but it's kind of like it had the word unique in it, and I can't think of it.
Okay.
It's like I heard everything he said. It was just that one word that I can't even pronounce. Like I'm like, huh?
All right.
When the statue
What?
slammed its spear into the ground, it uttered the phrase Bonif Tikakwa.
Can I roll a history check around to see if I do?
And that'd be awesome.
That would be 11.
Okay. You recognize it as ancient Atlati. And remind me again when, because I remember I came up with that at the last moment. When is it that you heard that?
It was when it slammed the spear into the ground.
Okay. And 11. You don't know what that word means because ancient Atlati is pretty different than what you do. But it does sound familiar to just a word. Kiltusk. The word would be beginning, or something it talks about the start of something. That is what the word is similar to in your current version of the Atlati language with an 11. That fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guys, please continue.
Yeah, so Keltos would say in his like tropical Mediterranean, no, not Mediterranean. What
What? Huh?
what accent does he have again? Because like it's been a while since it's been mentioned.
Buddy,
I just wanna make
you
sure it's
go ahead and
mentioned
use
again.
whatever you want. He's just kind of tribal sounding. So you just have fun with the space.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you guys something.
Yeah, so
When he put that down in that fountain, and I explained to you the other day I couldn't find the right graphic, and he released water, and you heard it rushing through the floor and things like that, I found where I put that in here. And this is the northeast fountain. This is the fill. So there you go. I found it. It's only got about 70 something subfolders. It's no problem. So anyway, there you go. Now, as far as your accent, buddy, it's really, I just want you to have more fun enjoying and not having to worry about the way he sounds. But he's a bit tribal sounding, and you just stick with it and have fun with it, okay?
I was just wanting to say since I really can't say it well, I was just saying if you, like I can like actually describe his voice. So he would say to Brahmus. That is ancient language of my kind. And as for the phrase itself, I don't know what it truly means, but what we have translated it to can mean beginning or like the start of something.
Okay. That, Kobe, is fine. Just do that. Like that voice, that little alteration, that's all you need, bud. You're good, okay?
With all the gears we've found thus far, does it appear that we have enough for all four?
Kill Tusk, what do you think?
I'm trying to if I remember correctly, I think we did talk about that in a previous episode, and I think we discovered that we didn't.
Had enough gears, but it would take a long time to put them together.
Oh,
You have
so we did have enough.
You have enough where you
Alright.
could create one set. If you
Alright.
go up there and use the pieces that you found. But there are 4 statues in here. So you had a minimum from just your roll, just for the hell of it, roll insight for me, Colby. With a plus 1d4 from what you found in the room from earlier.
Be right back. Puppy
Go ahead,
stuff.
bud, you're fine. Yeah. What'd you get, boss?
I'm doing math. 25.
That's good. You got 4 statues here. 4 constructs of Seraphim. Each with their own potentially unique properties to them. Set of gears goes in each one. You got one working. It's had an effect. You've heard it, but you can't see it yet. Right? You heard the word come from it. Beginning. Right? You've got enough gears to build and put together one of these by hand in case you can't find them. But you know you at least need to find 2 more sets of gears to make this work. And if you can't construct the 4th one, you're going to have to find 3 more total to do this.
Are we able to see the backs of the southern 2 as
If
well?
you just want to simply tell me that he is walking around the room to inspect them,
I mean,
that is
because
fine.
he's right now, he's just going off the assumption that these front 2 are the only 2 that don't have gears. So he's going to check out the other 2 just to see if they're in the same condition.
Okay. I won't make you roll a check for that. They are in exactly the same condition that you found the first one in.
Okay.
Okay? Roll 4 right in front of my face. Yeah, right? That's good stuff.
I suppose we bet on the fact that the other sets of gears are here somewhere. We already know one will have to be assembled.
And that's
He
if
looks at
we
his
do it
hands.
correctly.
Right.
You see Brahmus kind of look at his hands. I don't know that I'll be much help putting them together. Put them in.
With the checks, it was more of Bastille and Killtusk. I think with what they investigated, or was it you? I think you were the one, weren't you? Mirk, that had the really high rolls in that crafting room?
Well, I was looking at the bones because I'd went up behind Sylowen, who's like, "Oh, look, pile of bones." And I'm like, "Oh,
I
look,
remember. Yes, I know
ancient
that.
flute."
Yes. Danny, it was Bastille that was up in that construction room that had really good rolls over the blueprints and shit, right?
Actually,
Killtusk did.
Piltusk had really good rolls. I managed to memorize it, but I couldn't translate it.
Okay.
But he explained to Brahmus, and then Brahmus got advantage over it because I was able to translate, but Brahmus was able to understand it
Okay.
because I could read it. But
Well, that's
know.
where you guys are at now. Okay. So, moving forward, this is what we have. And we can talk this through. Well, remember, like I said, the pieces are there for combat purposes and for aesthetic, but I'm not saying you're staring at the wall because you're standing here. At this moment now, we're out of initiative. You have this chamber to look over and study and ask questions about. You have the stairs that go and descend into possibly another chamber. And then you have these other statues. So, guide me through where you guys are grouping up at. Bastille, are you going to talk to the others? Or are you going in to investigate this room? Just give me an idea and you all talk through this and I will tell you what you need to know when you ask it.
Got more levers. He says it loud enough that they can hear it.
Okay. You guys hear that? React and tell me what you all are doing as Kiltusk and Brahmus and Sylowen. You all have heard this. What's the play?
Brahmus is going to nod at Kiltusk and start making his way up that direction.
Okay.
I
So,
don't think Brahmus was there whenever they uncovered the stairs in the water or any of that, so.
no. So if you want to, guys, take just a minute here, catch each other up on what you've discussed, what you've thought, have a conversation. Now we'll put you all right here at, I'll say, the top of that step, right here in this area. I'll move the pieces while you guys are having a conversation about what's next, okay? Go ahead.
Bast says the time for stealth is past. We've got to move through this temple. We may be able to convince them to work with us, but if not, we're going to cut them down on our way through if you can't make them bend to your will immediately.
I suppose you've made more progress than me. Once the gears are put into the statue, that's where they stay. Can't be removed. So we'll need 3 other sets. As far as I know, we've only got enough for 1.
What did the statue do?
It spoke ancient Atlantic term. Before
That Brian
sliding
made
the
up.
gear into the ground. And then the pool that it was sitting in filled with water.
He looks up to you. He's like, could you drive the spear in it? Do the same thing the statue did?
I looked. I don't know that I could maneuver it. Especially not without breaking the mechanism as it is.
As long as the mechanism drives it down, I don't care if it operates again.
You sense urgency in Bastille's term and demeanor. But react how you want to. And mind you, Kiltusk, Sylowen, jump in anytime you want to, or just listen. It's all good.
Well, the last thing I want to do in an ancient place like this is destroy something. It's hard telling what eyes might line up on us.
New Gimdar was built on the roof.
To collect the ire of any gods.
He laughs. He's like, I don't think we have to worry about the gods. And New Gimdar was built on the rubbish of old Gimdar. Sometimes you have to demolish something to move forward.
And Karsu speaks up at that point. She looks to you. Not stern, but sure and proudly. And look at what not respecting the gods got us. We used to have one island. Now we live amongst 4 broken parts. This place was once the cradle of creation. Now we are here trying to fight just to ensure the survival of some of the people that are left. I understand the urgency, but I don't think it's wise to not respect the gods and their gifts and their punishment. I'm young, but I've learned, looking into the eyes of those that survived it.
He looks at Brahmus and then he bites his lip because, you know, he's about to say something about their gods and what they were. Looking at Brahmus, and he bites his lip and he looks at Brahmus and kind of nods, hoping Brahmus catches where he's at. And
Just remember, friend. He's going to look over at Sylowen. We've seen what needless destruction causes.
I'm not saying we need to crumble this thing to the ground, but if we break a few statues to get through it, it won't matter if we come out of here with a spear if we don't have anyone to wield it.
When you say those words, Karsu has a reaction. You can hear her audibly take kind of a deeper breath and nod her head
Me and Dad are gonna go pick up
to a
Mary.
degree. Okay? Kiltusk, you say anything during this?
No, I think Tarsu said what was on his mind.
Okay. With that, if there's more conversation to have, please have it. That's awesome. I love it. I like when the characters interact. It's fun. It's great. When you want to interact with the room or something, that's when you include me. So, what is the play here, folks? Now that we're kind of feeling out, if anyone has something more to say, to make their case in point, please do. If not, who wants to be the first one in here, and what are we doing?
As I was crossing through, would I have noticed the stairs in the water?
Pointed them out to you before.
Okay, I didn't know if I was in there or not. So
yeah, you're good.
I think Sylowen's 2 cents of the matter is like, well, before we talk about burning the place to the ground, we should probably continue walking through it first. May not be even necessary.
So we see then we're in agreement. We will proceed less cautiously, but let's get this done. And if we can't find these pieces, then application of brute force.
With that, Kiltusk, you understand both sides of this, and I'm going to include you in this whether you want to or not, kicking and screaming, but I will say this to you. Your vision of what Loki saw outside, and you knowing that Shakoma and Valdera and Loki are outside fighting, and you're getting glimpses of that, you see both sides of this. You know what I mean? There are people fighting for the luxury of us to be able to do this, but you don't know how fierce the fight is going. I mean, you saw some people coming in, you saw from some Vazillion, you saw some battle, but you don't really have a full picture of how bad it is out there. But that wells up inside of your stomach like a nervous knot, especially being a warrior, especially knowing that Shakoma is just now starting to find her wings again and starting to embrace this being the lead of the next group of Atladi warriors. That bravery has been instilled in her because of these new arrivals to the shores. As awesome as that is, and as much as you respect her, it would be a damn shame if they all died outside. I will leave you with that thought, and that is what is on your mind. Okay? Or at least that's something there you can bite onto as you choose. Okay? So, once again, as the conversation is going on, what's the move forward here?
Almost like you were able to actually set these levers. Do you want to try doing that again?
Okay.
well, using the stands, it would be our access to the stairs.
Well, there's also a door in this room, much like that previous one we entered.
Okay. Are you all investigating these doors? These statues? That water down there, or more of the 4 statue room to the south? I'll give you those 4 options. Which one are you guys focusing on, or are you splitting up?
Let's activate the levers. They'll either
Okay.
drop the water or they'll open the door. We know that much to be certain.
Fair.
I will activate the first lever. We'll see if what happens.
While he's doing it, I'm looking it over, seeing if I notice anything crazy about him.
Okay. I would like for you two can roll individual investigation checks. Do you guys want to team up on the same one and do one with advantage? Or do you want to do 2 different ones?
He nods to Brahmus. You're the mechanical one. You want us to do it separate? Well, together or separate?
Well, you look at one, I'll look at the other. We'll cover more ground.
Okay. Dan, you're closer. You want to go to the one to the north here?
Sure. Investigation 22.
Very, very good. With a 22, and I'm curious first. Brahmus, roll yours. Bella's like, I know what that laugh is about.
Hit the lever.
That's about it.
Well, actually, is there any way Sylowen could have been with Brahmus to give advantage on that? To help check it out?
Doesn't he already have advantage on the temple workings?
He does now that Sylowen's going to help him. Go ahead.
Roll again.
That's a nat 1.
Oh, well. Never mind.
I mean, there's only so much a guy can do.
At this point, Brahmus just looks at the lever. He's like, it needs pulled. That's
What you got there, Bob, is the lever. It's going to need some pulling. That's what you got there.
What's wrong with it? Ain't no gas in it.
Ain't no gas in it.
I was thinking that. I was thinking about that.
He's like the Christmas vacation. Shitter's full. You know, he's completely pulling it off. So, Bastille, with your good roll, a couple things happen here. Okay. You said you rolled a 25, right?
22.
22. Okay. You see that this lever seems to have in the bottom of it, as the description says, a orifice inside of it. Now, you've seen similar holes like this and different things throughout this place. Skull goes in here. Okay? And there seems to be some kind of precious gem that seems to be engraved up above this thing. This looks to be some kind of diamond. Now, the rogue in you is like, whoo, because it's good sized. Okay? But it is there intentionally to symbolize what this is about. It would unlock this mechanism. As you delicately look around this thing, you don't know if you could pull that lever now or not. I'm not going to say unless you try. But you know, putting a skull in here that would match, as has happened in this place previously, with that good of a roll, is what's going to make this thing activate.
Being that some of this stuff is mechanical and some of it is magical, I'm going to inspect it and see if I can pick the lock. Just because it's a skull-shaped key doesn't mean it's not a lock.
Okay. So what kind of check you want to roll for that?
I would like to use thieves' tools, which are I have expertise in, so I get double proficiency bonus plus the dex.
Go ahead. Let me know what you get.
So that's 23.
Okay. This is a very, very high DC. And you look inside there with your devil's sight. And you're getting out different pieces that push on different orifices of this. And you're pushing around in here and you're seeing what kind of moves and what kind of does not. And you can see that somehow the diamond interaction, the light that reacts through this, that reflects through this, is one part of unlocking the mechanism. The other part is pressure. Now, with that high of a roll, you're able to get pieces to move, and you can hear things letting loose in the gears. But without that last element to be able to make this thing happen, you don't have enough fingers to push on all the pieces that in a complete skull would push on. You understand what I mean? There's only so many ways you can push in here just physically. You get it if you could fit 2 more hands in there and hold a diamond with a 5th one. You understand it. But it's going to need that component to go in here to make this work. That's the truth of it. Okay, you guys hear Bast say fuck. Someone's like, yeah, fair, that's right.
It's 6 arms and a diamond.
Okay, Kill Tusk, what are you doing in this moment? Are you inspecting anything?
5 to pick the lock and 1 to pat me on the back for being a genius who forgets.
What are you doing, Colby?
Yeah, I was because of the conversation that happened earlier. I was gonna have Kiltus was going to use one more hyper awareness to see what Loki is seeing and see how everything's doing outside.
Okay, go ahead and roll that's perception, right? That's you seeing through Loki. Go ahead and just roll me a wisdom check. I was curious to see how well you do.
All right.
And make sure to mark off that you've used a hyper awareness on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna harass the big dog? Get him.
20 in total.
20 total. Okay. Here's what you see. Let's have some fun. We're going to do this 1, 2, 3. Okay. Bella, roll me a 1d20. Higher is better.
$17.
17. First thing that comes through, you hear the sound. You hear this sound, and then all of a sudden, you see the head rise up, and you realize that Loki was standing with his taloned feet on top of the chest of a large Vasilian Ravager. Okay? As he looks up and he cries out in this ancient dinosaur-like screech that he has, as it reverberates and he looks around, as it echoes and bounces off the outside, you almost think you can actually hear it with your actual ears instead of it being just in your mind, as he is bitten out and is on top of a foe that he has just killed. As he scans and looks around, he is at one of the highest points right now of the actual place, as he has moved ground to try to fight off the zillion that are coming up towards him, and he is winning. Danny, roll me a 1d20. Higher is better. Tell me what you get.
19.
19. Valdera is slaying it right now. She's got pals, at least 6 Vasilian harvesters at her feet. The sword is wet with dark blood as she is going crazy. There is crimson and that dark Vasilian kind of blood spattered across the lighter stone of the exterior of the temple as she is going through, and she is yelling out stuff, and she has this large horn that she is blowing on, rallying to the other people that are there, holding her own with large wide arcs. She is kicking complete ass. Jeremy, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think you can. I'm going to roll the last one. This is going to be for, let's go with, I think Baraxel would be a good one to check on, right?
He gave a thumbs up saying he can't hear you.
Okay. Jeremy, roll me a 1d20. Higher is better. You want to see how Baraxel was doing in the battle outside. We got 2 rolls that are really good so far. Valdera and Loki are kicking ass.
Brian just wants to see me roll for somebody to die.
No, not the case.
19.
A 19. Baraxel has shifted out of Takari form. Okay? And he is using those war claws, and he is going to town. Actually, I would say, even if so, he is at the other side of Valdera, pouncing and taking care of these things one after another as they pile up on the steps going down. In the moment when you finally hit him, he was throwing a vicious jumping uppercut with one of those large clawed weapons that he has, sends one flying up, and when it lands onto the steps below it, you can hear a sickening crack as the back of the creature seems to have expired on the steps as it just tumbles down lifelessly and splats down on the ground below it. They have got the door covered. The last one will be Shakoma. Colby, roll me a 1d20.
Natural 20. That's a 20.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm serious, bro. I'm serious.
Wow.
Good
How
catch,
to cap
17.
this off? How to cap this off? Shakoma didn't have a... Okay. As that happens, and you see the back break of this one Vasilian falling down the steps, you hear what sounds like the large primal call of the Quetzalcoatl as the shadow of a beak and wings spread out shines down over top of those stairways, over top of Valdera, over top of Baraxel, okay? With a natural 20 in this moment of combat. And as that happens, I got to give you this because it's the point of it, okay? You look up and you see it is the Panacho that she has on that represents the Quetzalcoatl. And as the sun is coming through the clouds for just that moment, and this tempest of rain has been hitting, she is casting that long shadow down on the top, and she has her arms up like this in victory as they are going through. And she goes out and grabs a spear and throws down. It sails between Baraxel and Valdera and hits one of those Ravager creatures that is coming up the stairs. He's literally knocking the dead bodies of the other Vasilian harvesters out of the way as that large, darker gray, purplish skinned Ravager starts walking up the steps. And as it takes that bellowed breath, it's getting ready to breathe poison gas onto Valdera and them. The spear goes right through the center of the chest of it, topples it, and it starts to roll down the stairs backwards. And as it does, it catches 2 or 3 other harvesters and just steamrolls them, knocking them back down several notches. They are handling fucking business outside. Kiltusk is certain of it. Share that information how you wish. I mean, shit, guys. 15, 17, 19, and 20. Kick ass. That's good to know. That's good.
I would also like to say, like, how this looks like when people look at Kiltus when he does that, I would say, like, his eyes get more, like, reptilian, like, to symbol
nice.
Loki's eyes. So, like, his eyes will be turned back to normal if anybody, like, was watching him. And he would basically come out of, like, this trance, and he would share with the group, the gods are with our side, are with us, because not only are they guarding the door, but they're doing it like it's nothing I've ever seen. Like Radera and Braxel and Shakoma, I don't think a single one has even gotten even with eyes shot near the door.
Danny, with your high perception and stuff like that, when he was ending that vision, you would have saw the Panacho that he's wearing, the one that works against the undead, that's angelic and demonic that he has on currently. You would have seen a wind blow over him, and you would have swore that you could have heard the faint shriek of the Quetzalcoatl as he had this vision. And when he opened up his eyes, you can see that his words are ringing true. Like he has had that vision, and he is seeing what's going on out there. I'll say you all kind of passively notice this, that when this vision, as he's sharing with Loki, washes over him, you can hear that very faint, large cry of a Quetzalcoatl, and you can see the wind blow through his Panacho. So, go ahead, Danny.
Looks and he says, did Valdera look... Did she have an energy about her?
Yes, there were bodies.
Roll insight for me real quick, Colby, and I'll tell you what he'd be talking about.
Okay. $13.
Okay. There was no darkness about her on my roll. You notice that she is just being triumphant. So that's what he knows to be true. You can make that however you want to, or just go with the fact that I just said it. It's all up to you. You know, D&D's weird that way sometimes, right? Re-say what I just said for you to say to him. Yeah. Why? Why the confusion?
She was being a true warrior. There was nothing aiding her
Nice.
She's in her element then. But if they push her too hard, we've got to go.
Smart. Very true. Very true. Okay, so we know that that's going on here. Kill Tusk is having his moment. Sylowen, would you like to do investigation or perception on your own on anything in this room?
So I am not gonna re-examine the same lever that Brahmus did because she had assisted him in that, and they both know jack shit.
True.
So I'm trying to think. What's the half circle at the left of the room?
You're not quite sure. It looks the same shape of the fountain that held the first set of gears. But this one seems to have some kind of heavy stone cover on top of it.
She may try to look at that or check that out.
Go ahead, roll me a check. You tell me which one you're rolling and why.
Okay.
Investigation, perception.
Ooh.
You could roll knitting. I mean, whatever. Just tell me, and we'll see if it works.
So I rolled an 18, and that's plus intelligence at 21.
Okay. With getting over top of a 20, you are able to detect with your fine avian senses that same arcane acidic substance seems to have some kind of smell seeping out through very small cracks underneath of this lid. You look and investigate the wall. This thing seems to be retractable somehow. To move this lid is to reveal possibly what you revealed earlier. It's just how. But you can see how the pieces would move. It's just moving them.
You said that there are cracks in like the lid itself.
Small spaces in between where you can sense the odor of that kind of chemical since you've encountered it several different times now. That arcane substance that seems to give way to the blessed water that you guys carry, but at the same time is extraordinarily dangerous.
But like that, like in the lid, or just kind of in the area around it.
In the lid, like for instance, if I zoom in here, you can see a little bit of discoloration and stuff right along the edge, and you can smell it seeping out around where this would cover it, as it is not exact.
So I think she's gonna convey of like there is a way to open that. I was just thinking about trying to smash the lid open a little bit, but
Get after it.
I think maybe we should try the mechanisms first.
Wait a minute. The lid's just got to cover this stuff. If you smell that stuff, Brahmus, that stuff eats stone. Drop a little on here. And then take the container, dip some more out. We'll burn this thing off. See if a little bit drips. See if it'll move it.
It was worth a shot nonetheless.
I will say, just because your passive common sense is over a 10, if this stuff is in a stone thing like this, then there's a pretty good chance it's not going to eat through it. You understand what I'm saying? And listen, that's awesome. But understand this is a raised platform that is holding this stuff like a pool, like a fountain. And if it is in there, and this acid would eat through stone, it would have already eaten through what's holding it, and it would just be spilling out into the floor.
Right, but I figured the lid may not be made of the same stuff since rising.
You are more than welcome to try that.
Because whatever contains that's got to be pretty hard to come by.
True.
I draw. The worst we can do is refill it when we open this thing.
Point made. What are you guys doing?
Let's do it. And try to see if I can't crack it open.
Okay, and how are you trying to crack it open?
Well, I don't want to go beating on it with my greatsword, because then I'll wind up doing more damage than I want to.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna try to punch it. In the big old meaty hand.
Okay. So you're just
Kratos
okay.
every time she sees a chest.
Because
Use
Danny's
that-
suggesting to pour stuff on it.
Yeah,
and you're
use
thinking brute force. I want to make sure everyone's understanding each other. So if you want to, go ahead and roll to attack a harmless fountain.
Well, because my thinking,
He's just itty bitty. He's just
the liquid, the only thing it didn't affect was something that it was a special container for it.
Well,
But thus far we've seen it has eaten metal.
help.
It was in a stone fountain and it didn't erode the fountain.
Yep.
So that's kind of where Brahmus is with it. He's gonna try to punch it, and if it doesn't do anything, then he'll try to use the drop.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
But he's not trying to destroy a whole bunch of stuff. He's just trying to kind of directly just kind of crack the lid so he can maybe move it off.
Okay.
That would be a 17.
17 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Seven points.
7 points of damage. And I want you to roll me a strength check at disadvantage, please.
Natural one.
Okay. With that, you hit this thing. It is thick stone on top of here, and you see that there are elements and pieces of this that seem to be made of that fine metal that lined the inside of that vase, thus the marks and things of this nature on it. Okay. When you hit that, you get a reverberation. You're not strong enough, Brahmus, to break through this. Not on your best day, is what that one on that check tells you. But it also tells you that although this may be stone here, this also probably has the same type of lining on the bottom of it as the tub itself would. From the sound of that echo, as when you hit that, it fills throughout the room of the mighty hit on top of this thing. You maybe scratched the stone up a little bit with 7 points of damage, but it is not enough, and it would take days to do it this way.
Well, you've seen that. Doesn't appear brute force or the liquid's going to do any good.
Okay. So, with that, Kill Tusk. Sylowen, do you guys have any other suggestions in this moment? Okay. So, Bast, you see that brute force is not going to work. You were not able to pick this. You rolled very well, but it seemed like it would take at least 3 or 4 sets of hands inside there, plus this diamond element to some degree, right? That's something you just can't replicate with your kit. So, it's either going somewhere else and looking for these pieces to help unravel this puzzle, or trying to find some other way to force your way through a doorway. You've got, you could go make a gear and possibly try to put in one more of these and gamble and see which one does what. You know what I mean? You have options here. You just need to, as a group, collectively decide what you're going to do here.
We're going to have to go in the other door. We're just going to have to find stuff.
Well, it's not lost on me that there are the stairs in the water.
There's also there's another corridor just outside of this one. I can't breathe underwater. I'm not chancing that.
But I could always take a few steps forward to see what we find. Perhaps there's something down there that might trigger the water.
You don't breathe.
Fair assessment.
Brahmus, if you're comfortable going by yourself down there, I'll head up the other stairs and see if I can find the other stuff. We'll meet back. if you encounter anything, if you can't handle it, run.
I'll send bubbles your way.
Anyone else have anything to say about this plan? As Bella looks like she has questions. That's the best I can say it.
Sylowen may not be as eager just to let him wander off on his own type thing.
Okay.
She can't hop in and out in this space, right?
When you say hop in and out, what are you referring to?
Meaning joining Brahmus inside the...
She said drowning Brahmus. Did you see
No.
the Freudian slip?
Yeah, I know, right? I get it. It depends if you guys want to try that or not. I mean, what do you know about the stipulations or limitations as far as going in and out of Brahmus's space currently, guys? Talk to me, Jeremy. Can she or can't she?
As far as I know, there's no real limitation to it.
Mhm.
You just have to open up the way.
Right? So, there's your answer. It seems like for some reason you have a free pass.
So I think she may not be as eager to leave Karsu behind.
Uh-huh. But you're
So-
thinking about jumping into a little yellow submarine and going for a swim? Is that what we're thinking?
Pretty much, it's kind of like the either let Brahmus kind of wander into potential danger on his own type thing, or give him a little bit of backup should shit go down.
Okay. And by shit going down, you mean you guys and Brahmus going down into the water.
Mhm.
Fine.
Merk's only problem with this plan
Is
is shit does go south. And she can't get out. And Brahmus gets destroyed.
I mean, as your DM,
That is effectively somebody
will
killing
say-
two somewhat metaphorical birds with one stone.
I will say, as your DM, you have a valid point. But to say that you are going to be slain by going underwater is drastic, sir. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just telling
You
you.
say that until I make the wrong roll and we find out the Quetzalcoatl can swim.
I mean, she could just grab a bucket. I mean, just start, So, anyway,
They're discussing this. Bast says, "Can you make a way for Karsu? She can handle spirits, and I will have Kiltusk with me. He can handle spirits." And he looks to the Scion and he says, "Not to offend you, but if it does turn to battle, it would be better to be with 3 than 2."
So are you suggesting to try to get away for Karsu to also come inside?
Yeah,
Brahmus?
Bast doesn't know how it works.
How have we never thought of the idea of having Karsu basically ride inside of Brahmus for protection?
well,
Like, I'm basically a tank.
right.
What better protection than an armored tank just chugging through?
Having said that, you realize, and it dawns on you because I have given this a lot of thought, okay? For some reason, because of her heritage, because of the race that she is, Sylowen is specifically able to go in and out from you, and this is something that Ignatius has been able to help you discover in order to be able to train her. So there are a certain unique set of things that are met to make it where she can do that. Now, I'm with you. I think it would be awesome for you to just be like a permanent hotel. There's no more staying in inns. There's no more long resting and worrying about being in the wilderness. There's just Brahma standing there for 8 hours a day, and every episode just being like, just like spotlights out of his eyes, just waiting for everyone to wake up. I'm cool with it. But, and if you remember correctly, I'm not trying to shoot this down, but these are facts.
Right.
These are things that are established. They're all good.
Yeah,
There
it's
you-
the whole
there
thing
you
with
are.
Brahmus
So-
is it's supposed to be a basically a housing form of celestial beings.
Stuff.
And since Sylowen has somewhat of a celestial birthright,
Exactly right.
he can pass. Unless Karsu, or not Karsu,
Who are you asking about?
Oh, they're a big jealous
the
dog.
Scion.
Okay, that's Karsu.
Okay.
Yeah, Rursi is declared.
Mercy, that's the other one thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless she's celestial born in some way.
Right. So I will say in a
I-
conversation that you kind of explain that to Bastille as he's asking these questions. Sylowen, you and Brahmus both are kind of explaining to Bastille the particular way in which you're able to do this. That way it becomes clear.
I guess it's one of those things of no point going through all those hoops if it turns out you walk down the stairs and there's nothing. But like, it's like, can you like pop your head down? If there's something substantial, then we'll do this. But if it looks just like you walk downstairs and there's like a button on the ground, then no. You know what I mean?
I can go
See what she's saying. She's going to trust you to go down there, and if there's nothing in there to battle, you'll come back. You'll finish.
Mm,
You'll come back.
all right.
Reading between the lines. I get it. Okay.
Go down there,
So-
deal with any threat that could be there, and then come back. Gotcha.
So
All right,
that's,
so
tell
no.
me in the game plan so little words. Let me know.
And of
So-
course, you have stepped over everything I was saying.
Bastille, what direction are you going? And are you asking Kiltusk if he's going with you? Kiltusk, are you cool with this? And then someone tell me where Karsu comes into the picture.
So, at this present moment, Brahmus has the swim trunks on. Toe is in the water, waiting
Nice.
for the go-ahead.
Okay. And Sylowen has said once you get in there, if it seems like it is something safe,
Well,
you are willing to jump into the Volkswagen and go, or what's the deal?
well, the minute that Bast did the challenge of like, oh yeah, there's no way that he would do that. If there's something to engage with, he would just start engaging with it.
Okay.
If there's a fish down there, I will find a way to drown it.
Okay.
Wait, has Mirk himself gotten like a little bit roughed up since we've seen him?
No, he's actually pretty well. Whenever he took those licks from whenever he was out,
Mm-hmm.
but I think otherwise he's been pretty fine otherwise.
Okay. Well, no submarine it is. She'll kind of just watch over Karsu and just trust that he doesn't do something stupid.
Okay. So, Brahmus, you're
Me?
going by yourself,
Watch for
correct?
300 years. I've never done something stupid.
Okay. So, Bastille, you're going somewhere else to check in another room. And Sylowen, are you and Karsu trying to kind of stay there and remain guarding the entrance to the steps downstairs, or are you going with Bast and them?
Maybe she'll do that. She'll guard the steps with Karsu as Brahmus goes down.
Okay. Roll.
Or not. I saw Dan's reaction.
So you should find. I'm playing Bast, so
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. So, Kiltusk, are you going with Bastille to another room somewhere else to try to look for more things?
Yeah, he'll be going with Bast.
Okay. So, Bast, tell me from here which way you're going.
Is that not a room to the left? Up, wasn't there a corridor up north?
Tell you in just a minute. There is right here. There is something here. Is that where you're wanting to go?
Yep.
Okay. I will do that first, and then I will get back to Brahmus. Okay? So, let's go ahead and move this around a little bit.
I'll be
Here in just
right
a few
back.
minutes, we'll take a 10 or 15 minute break. Is
Oh,
everybody
cool.
good to do a part of this first, or you want us to take a break now?
Good. And just to
Bella?
let you know, Bast,
Are you needing a break now, or are you good to go for a little bit before we do it?
I can wait a few more minutes, yeah.
Okay, let's open this room and show it, and then we'll go on. Okay, what were you going to say, Danny? As I'm kind of navigating through some stuff here.
this time Bast he's done with stealth. He's just walking. We're either going to convince these spirits to help us, or we're going to cut them down, because sneaking around is not helping our friends at all.
Okay, Kiltusk, you can see his approach. Bass is not playing games. How do you feel in this moment? Are you taking suit, or are you advising him against that? Just speak your words, bud. What do you want to do as he is boldly going where no elf has gone before.
I'm following. He would just be following suit.
I like it. Okay, so let me go ahead and make the stage. I love being able to do this because when you get to go underwater, you start becoming transparent. Oh, it's neat. The graphics are cool. Okay, and then we're going to go Sylowen. Looks cold. Good job, buddy. Karsu.
Inspector Brahmus periscope.
Right on. Go! Don't even get me started. All right. So, and it's funny. I look down, and the older folks smile because they've seen the cartoon, and the younger ones are like, "That? What is that voice?" It's all good. That is going to be room.
Hey, I know Inspector Gadget.
X. Right on. Let's do this. Blackout. Sections. Room.
Penny was the boss. What was the dog's name?
What's whose name?
You had Penny, which was his niece. Inspector Gadget was obviously the cyborg that had all kinds of stuff and couldn't operate
gosh, the dog's name.
Dog.
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. Damn it, dude. Damn it. Penny. Yeah, can't remember. But anyway, here's what you guys see.
Brain? I
Might have
think it's
been
called Brain.
I think it was called Brain, yep. This is the room that opens up before you guys. Okay? So, no description in this one. Okay? And I've got a little bit of shadow overage here, so you'll have to excuse that if you don't mind. Actually, I think I can take care of that real quick. Just 1 second. Little shadow overage. Nope, I can't. Tough shit. It's going to have to stay there. Let's see here. As you do, you see this is one of those blessed ivory totems that's made out of the dinosaur bone and the ivory and the fine kind of stuff. And it is simply sitting there with an empty bowl holding it. There are a bunch of vases and things like that and clusters similarly to what you've seen before in here. And there's also a list of ancient documents and things, more writing, more ancient Makati, Morital based kind of knowledge scattered about this place. That is what you see when you go to enter the room. What is it that you are doing, Bastille?
We're gonna need more of the. I quickly backtrack, and the flask that I emptied, I fill it up with the regular water so that we can pour it in there and get the blessed water again.
You want to say you just grab it from right here below you?
Yeah.
Okay. I will say that's perfectly fine. You grab regular water out of here and you have filled up your flask. Okay, Killtusk, what are you doing in this moment? Anything special? You
I
are.
think Killtusk would go see the scrolls.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Danny, as you're going, you're getting the water. Killtusk is going to go over there to look at the scrolls. Let's see here real quick. We move you around just real fast because of things. As you go in this room, let me make sure. Just 1 second. Just a minute, guys. Sorry. Okay. You don't sense any kind of spirits or anything in this room, Danny or Killtusk, because you go in this room seems to be vacant. Okay. Danny, I'm going to assume that your goal is to do water. Okay. Go ahead and go through the process. Just give me a sleight of hand, Danny, to let me know how your process goes. And then Killtusk, give me a investigation.
15.
Nat 1.
Nat 1. I'll get you in a minute. Danny, what'd you get?
It's paper.
Mm-hmm. Danny, I couldn't hear you. What'd you get?
15.
Good job. When you do, you have one flask full of blessed water. And as you pour that water into that container, and it blesses it, and it fills that bowl, it lowers the level just a little bit, as you can hear that water that you're entering in going in through this thing to some degree. And as you hear the water bubbles and things like that, you kind of watch this device in anticipation of what's getting ready to transpire. And as it does, you can see that all of a sudden, water seems to form underneath of the lower crevice of the stone eyes of the totem. Trails down the sides of the nose, goes down the sides of the mouth, and drains down along the side of the neck. And as it does, it reveals a medallion as it washes away, packed in and powdered like limestone and bone dust looking stuff, and reveals another one of those medallions that you've collected before on the neck. Can you pick it up? Okay. Mark down that you have another medallion. And that you also now can take this, and you also have another vessel of blessed water. Colby, as you go over these papers, and you're kind of looking over into seeing what Bastille is doing, and you are looking over at these vases and these ancient urns and things like that, you go to reach out for these papers. And as you do, the moment your finger touches one of them, okay, it begins to turn into ash almost immediately. You got a quick image of, I'm going to roll and see, just a minute. Roll me a dexterity check, please.
$15.
Okay. With a 15, you weren't able to stop the process. In your perception check, well, that was when it was really, really low, right?
You said investigation. So,
Investigation. Yeah. What was that again?
In that one.
In that one, okay. So your hands with only a 15, when you go to touch this stuff, it starts falling apart really, really quick. And because of that, you're stressed to get an image and be able to investigate and look and see what it says quickly as it's being destroyed. But with that really, really low roll, you get the worst of it. And you were able to discern nothing from this pile of papers, unfortunately, as it slowly turns into dust with a wax-looking seal and a piece of ancient braided hair laying down before it on a pile of paper. Literally, your own breath seems to scoot this stuff as it pretty much turns into dust. Okay? Having said that, let's go ahead and take a 15 real quick, and then we'll come back and do the yellow submarine portion of this. Let me go ahead and get ready to pause these, as I did there earlier. And we will pause in 3, 2, 1. Going to break.
It's pulled over.
All right, so we're back. And then, yeah. You guys are nuts.
He gets pulled over. He's like, I swear, officer, it was TikTok, not shrooms.
It was TikTok. Mushrooms are talking to me.
Oh, I'll be like my mom with an expired license plate and speeding and only get off with a warning.
Just
nope,
listen.
You don't have that ability.
Throwing his mom under the bus on a YouTube video.
Also, just so you know, you don't have that ability.
To the officer that was nice enough to let Colby's mom go, listen, we respect you. We respect you. No matter what her inconsiderate son has to say on this publicly viewed channel, you're okay in my book. You know what I mean? She's not the bad guy. And we all know it. It's okay. Jeez, Colby. Putting out fires for you, bud. Terrible situation.
Colby, if you are pulled over, I advise yes, sir, no, sir, here's my license. I
Colby's
messed-
like, it's not like that time we robbed the bank together, Brian. Remember that? Like, shut up, Colby. There's no end to this man. Anyway, moving forward. Let's see what Brahmus is up to, huh? What do you think? Okay, yes. Let's do this. Glub. So, Bud.
Just keeps raining.
Remember that, remember the old Brother Where Art Thou where the girls are singing Take Me Down to the Water?
Yep.
I wish we had that for a soundtrack right now.
Well, I mean, you can play it in your house if you would like right now, if that will help you envision the moment. I mean, do D&D the way you want to. You know what I mean? Play that shit. I can't put that in a video, or they'll mark me for it as a copyrighted song. But that doesn't mean that you can't. So, Brahmus, now that we're done talking about shrooms and movie soundtracks, you're got a toe in here. Someone trunks are on, sir. You're getting down into the water. As you do, and you submerge. Now these steps seem to descend and go downward. This area is only so wide. It's not quite 10 foot wide. 10 foot's pretty wide. You know what I mean? This is plenty enough room for you to go in, but it's not enough room for you to do jumping jacks in. You get what I'm saying? Are you trying to swim and navigate, or are you Iron Man walking across the bottom of the ocean surface, walking down these steps as if you're not underwater? How do you want to...
I kind of assumed I was not buoyant enough to swim, so I'm just kind of stepping down the stairs like there was no water.
Okay. As you do, does Brahmus have the... Go ahead.
I don't have to worry about slipping.
True. As you do, does Brahmus have headlights?
I don't know what he does.
Okay.
Definitely don't think he does.
Well, as you descend, and you're going down these stairs, you feel these go down just a little bit, and you go into what seems like a decently long hallway of about 20 to 25 foot long that is straight across. I want you to roll me a perception or investigation. You can see this stuff. Investigation to be able to give you more information about this.
18.
Good roll. You can see old torches along the walls as if this isn't flooded all the time. Okay? And over in the distance, you see another set of stairs that seem to ascend up because the surface at the very 25 foot off end seems to be illuminated by torchlight, but faintly. So altogether, 25, 35, this would be a 45 foot swim underwater for a normal person as it descends about 10 foot down, 25 foot across, and 10 foot up on the other side to come up into what seems like maybe something very similar to what you're in now. You don't know, but you can tell that there's dim light reflecting off the surface far to the other side. What are you doing?
Trying to see. Would you allow, because the spell Sacred Flame says flame-like radiance.
Okay.
Would you allow me to use that as like a makeshift light spell, even if it is only short-lived?
Yeah, but you're going to have to roll a decent spell save. You know how we roll DCs when you cast a spell?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to set it at 15. You roll your 1d20 plus your spell bonuses, and if you can beat a 15, I will say you're able to conjure up a version of that is a spell that is a flame-like radiance.
That doesn't work. One of them overdrops that makes your sword glow might.
Yeah, I don't have one of those though.
Oh, you had Flame Blade.
Green flame blade, but I don't think that's one that I actually took. Not 100% sure on that.
I was going through my homemade system of enchanting weapons, stuff like that, and I made a green flame blade added to an extra sword that had a burst at the end of it too. Pretty awesome stuff, man. I made up a recipe for it, like the things you could find to build that. It's pretty cool.
Did you guys watch that video? I know we're like in the middle of this. That one that I sent there about like taking out the attack rolls. Like that was a weird concept. We should,
26.
A 26. We'll chat about that after a bit, Danny. But yeah, I did look at that. It there's a lot of reasons it wouldn't work, and there's some it would. It'd be situational.
You know, it was a weird thing to wrap. You know.
Yeah. It's an interesting way of thinking. You're right. Because I don't mean to cut you off. So with a 26, you are able to muster up a version of this that illuminates a part of you in this fire that works as a makeshift torch, although it doesn't give a lot of light. It does, however, illuminate the 5-foot area in which you're around, maybe an extra 5 foot out from that. So 10-foot radius is all under the water here. As the flames flicker and are weak, but work, as they're not actual fire. Because it's not like there's kindling. You know what I mean? It is a spell flame. You do hold concentration on it, correct?
Well, it's an instantaneous spell.
Okay.
But in the descends on a creature that you can see within range. For success, take radiant damage. Target gets no benefit from cover for the saving throw. Yeah, it doesn't really specify.
So what's the name of the spell again?
Sacred Flame.
It's a damaging spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing that you hold up. It just happens in a flash and goes, right?
Yeah. That was kind of like a thing where I'm like trying to maybe chuck it at a wall. And then just have it put off just enough light for a moment for me to kind of see the immediate area.
Okay.
And then if it goes out right after.
When you do that, you do in fact see that there doesn't seem to be anything extra to this. You can see at one point there is a grate that seems like it has retracted that would have sealed this shut with iron bars. Okay? It looks very similar to the one that was underneath of the large central door. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The graphic where it had those little bit of bars coming down through the stream going through the middle of the temple. It looks like that, but it's been retracted already. Somehow. Okay? Now you don't know, maybe that was the sound of that statue you activated earlier. It could have been some other thing you stepped on earlier. It could have been all kinds of shit. But those are up. And this is a straight up tunnel with unlit torches along the sides. That's the only thing you notice with that flame spell that you used. You progress forward?
Yeah. I'm going to step forward a little bit. Just kind of get an eye on some corridors.
As he does, you slowly, Sylowen, lose sight of Brahmus as he descends into the depths. Okay? You're at the halfway point now, Brahmus. And everything seems okay. Nothing odd is happening inside of Brahmus as you are navigating the celestial construct through the hallway. And as you are heading over to the other side, you see this opens up into what looks like a larger surface area than the small hidden one that you entered in. Okay? Would you like to go ahead and walk on through and step up the stairs on the other side and reemerge?
Yeah, and I would like to do another burst of the Sacred Flame.
Okay, in what direction?
Just straight ahead. To kind of get to light up the next little bit, see off to the sides, make sure there's no spirits or anything hiding.
Okay, go ahead and roll your DC again, and then take off the magic points accordingly.
Not as good. That's a 12.
It does not function properly under the water this time.
Right.
But you do see somewhat of a slight glow in this area. You can't make out finer details though. But you can see that surface up ahead. Do you continue? Do you hesitate? What do you do?
I will continue, but slowly, keeping an ear out, because I'm sure if anything was there, it would have been alerted to that little flash.
Okay. As you do, you reemerge. Now explain to me, I'm going to show you, how do you come out of the water?
You said there were stairs leading up, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, just a minute, and I'll show you the
Come
room.
out, swim trunks stuck to the body, flipping my hair.
Yep, okay, just a minute.
No, I mean, he's pretty well going to alligator it. He's going to pop out and just kind of look around with just his head out for the moment.
Okay, just a minute.
Before going the rest of the way.
Okay. Alright, let me move your person here real quick, okay? Just a minute. Let me see, is there anything you read in this? No, not yet. Okay, so blackout. Again. Brahmus. Let's move you, buddy. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where did Brahmus go? Oh, I've got you invisible, so I can't see you. Where are you at now? There he is, way up there. Okay. Now we got you. It's neat the things I can do. You just have to be able to do them. So as you emerge up out of the water, you're in a chamber with a passage leading to the north. Okay, as if you've walked down below the water, walk through the hallway and come up on the other side safely with no incident. You do not see anything immediately in here. This room is deadly silent.
I'm going to continue forward.
Sylowen.
As a matter of fact,
Oh, go ahead.
mentioning that it's deadly silent. Let's see if I can change that.
Mm-hmm. What you doing?
I would like to use thaumaturgy.
To do what?
Make my voice boom 3 times louder as I yell out that I'm on the other side of the water. I have no idea if anybody's going to hear me, but either my teammates will hear me or anything creeping around these hallways is going to think, holy shit, God just entered the floor.
Technically, sound travels better in water.
In water. I'm not yelling at water and seeing if it comes out. It's not like the phone with the strings connecting 2 paper cups together. Oh, shit. Okay. A 1 through 5, and there's a chance someone will audibly be able to hear this. A 6 through 20, and this is just a silly idea. Okay, so I'm going to roll this d20. 1 through 5. That's a fucking 2. That's fantastic. Sylowen. This
I'd like
is
to think
be
it's
great.
a booming voice in this corridor. And then on the other side, it's...
Yeah, so he's been going for a few minutes, right? And I will say, once you were kind of watching the water, and when the ripples finally went away from where he had descended and went forward, you feel yourself holding your breath. You feel yourself, this is intense. And as you're staring at the water, at one moment you see, and you see a flash of light come out from that side, and you don't know what to think. You don't know, is he being attacked? Did he attack something? Why is there light coming out from underneath of this place? Okay. In that instant, what do you do?
I think that I'm trying to think. I have an idea for something, but it's like I think she may turn to Karsum, maybe like, Do you want to go for a swim?
Oh no.
She looks and roll persuasion check with advantage. DC to beat is 14.
Not happening.
Okay. She's like, she looks at it for a minute, and she looks at you, and she sees the smile on your face, and she sees the worry. And she just kind of looks at the water for a minute, and looks and just kind of shakes her head slowly. No. And doesn't say it, but she just kind of shakes her head, and she says, if he were in danger, he would come back soon. We have to believe in him. Some time goes by again, and in that moment of silence when you're looking at that water, and you're like, you hear, I need you to roll me a perception check. The DC is, to hear this.
I can tell you now
God.
she's not hearing it.
Oh, okay, her DC is like 17.
Yeah, I rolled a 2.
Okay. You see a vibration, Jurassic Park, if you will, on the surface of the water. And that's it.
Bedroom door shut.
I
are you
think
I wanted the lunch.
I think she may be like she may yell out real quick, like, Bast, can you hear me?
Shit.
We're just going to get everybody involved. Bastille.
Play the telephone.
You can't get, there are spells for this. I'm just saying, guys,
I don't think she has any of those spells. I think she may out like, Bast, Kiltus, can you hear me?
All right. Sorry,
do.
guys. I just found out I was supposed to be watching the puppy, and apparently it got in the cat's litter box.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well,
Gross.
is it using it? Because that's great.
No.
Well, it was using it all right. It's not in the right
Found
way.
the treats the cat left behind.
Oh. Yeah, that's fantastic. So moving on, to not get distracted by that. Tootsie Rolls, God. Anyway, you hear Sylowen say, and Bella, if you could please embody the tone of which Sylowen says this once again, just so Bastille knows what he's hearing.
I think she may kind of be like, Bast, Kiltus, can you hear me?
Oh, can we, Brad?
You can hear her, yes?
What's up?
Karsu's coming your way, meet her at the entrance to where you are. And then I think she's like, pushing Karsu to head
Stairs
in
with
that-
Riley. I locked her in the bathroom.
Take off running back toward them.
Okay, so you're pushing Karsu
Like-
where?
So she's motioning for Karsu to go towards where Bast are, where I saw them walk towards.
Okay.
Then as she kind of hears, Bast begin to move towards them, she's going to hop in the water.
Okie dokie, cool. I got it.
Sylowen is-
Taking the plunge.
And she's going to position her foot on the back of one of the stairs and just torpedo down the hallway. Pretty much vault horizontally, but through the water.
Okay, I need 2 checks. I need a Constitution
Mhm.
for holding your breath, and I need a Dexterity to see how you do when you were swimming and going down. Now, I'll let you do athletics or a swimming. I mean, I'd say it'd either be athletics or dexterity. You choose.
Let's see. So, for holding her breath, that was the Constitution.
It was.
So she rolled a 7 + 2, so a 9.
Yep, not good. So
then-
you feel when you get in there, the claustrophobia kind of hits of this small area. You do not see Brahmus, okay? But you can see off this a long distance, 25 foot, plus the steps going up the other side. You can see a dull light like this thing opens up in a place somewhat similar to where you're at.
Mhm.
But you don't know if you got the best breath or not.
The navigating, she rolled a 17 plus 4.
Okay, 21.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is, Constitution score, you failed.
Mm-hmm.
15 on Dex passes. 5 over that makes this doable,
Mm-hmm.
which was 20, and you got 21.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because it's so close, I get to decide the nature in which you pop up on the other side.
That's fine.
Okay. You with me, Jeremy? You with me, guys? You getting this? So as she does this,
Not to metagame and know there's a Constitution check.
what's that?
I'm just trying not to metagame knowing there's a Constitution check.
Right. So, as this happens, let me move this up here. Okay. Sylowen, as you're yelling, and you do that on the other side, Brahmus, and you shout this out. Okay? There is a pause. And you're waiting. And there's no response. And then, as you start to peer down and look into the water off the side of this thing, BAM! Right in your face, Sylowen comes bursting out of the freaking water and go, right? And just spits water like crazy as she slaps her hand up there and one wet wing just flop, just lands upon top. Right? And now, you guys go ahead and have your scene. A very waterlogged Skylancer is just, I want you to roll a charisma check for me to see how startled you are inside of Brahmus when she erupts out of there from the silence.
Could I get advantage because he is not a stranger to her antics?
You know what? Not in this instance, no. I'm going to say no. DM says no.
Is that a charisma check?
Yep. Just tell me what you get.
Well, he's got a 9. He's startled.
Yes. You actually feel yourself jump and you reach for your sword, Mirk, when you're inside of Brahmus, but you don't have a sword on you. Kind of like if a dog jumps out at you and you're like, what? You know, you're inside of him looking through these things, and as this happens, you're like, there's nothing there to fight with as you're caught off guard inside of Brahmus as she emerges. You guys role play this out. What are you doing?
As he settles and he realizes it's Sylowen, you hear a deep breath, just a sigh, and he crosses his arms. That wasn't a call for aid.
I think she goes like, so there was a light. There was a boom. Sounded like, and then I think she's like a few more like,
Yes.
That was me
Don't do
trying
that.
to see where I was going. And that was me yelling out to let everybody know I was on the other side of the water.
Okay. Yes. Okay, just a minute here. Just one second. I need to check on something real quick.
I think she's like, hey, next time we tie a rope to your wrist and you give a little tug if you're okay. And she's like pulling herself out and like shaking the water off her wing.
Okay, 7. Let me see here. I gotta do something real quick. That's great. Let's do this.
Since we're here, we might as well progress.
Okay, let me see if I can do this without messing up. With all the loud noise in the hallway coming from the room above, which yet you have not been able to look into, 2 Atlantic spirits come running up through the guts of the hallway to this loud commotion that's going on. Roll initiative.
I got a 4. Well, actually, yeah, I think a 4.
Yeah, okay, so that's not good, is what it is. It's not good. Brahmus? Jeremy's lost.
Bill got home, and all of a sudden my math skills just went.
Right on.
It's 5 plus 8 plus 4, 13, 17.
Okay, now Sylowen, you rolled a 1d20 plus your proficiency bonus, which was 4 or 3? 4, right?
Got to add that. So 8 then.
Okay. I was like, because 4
Pretty fitting, honestly.
is just about impossible. Okay, just a minute. Let's go ahead and go. Just a minute.
The thing, she come out of that water gasping, and then she looks over and she lets out another gasp.
Yes. Okay.
Breathe, child.
Breathe, child, breathe. Okay, and then this one is a... Oh, God. Okay, so, Brahmus, you are first in this initiative order. As these two approach, both of these seem to... One seems to have a spear, which is number 6, which is a very long polearm. It seems to have different chimes coming off of it. Just a minute. Number 5. Polearm. And the other one seems to have one of those almost like saw blade looking swords like we talked about. Looks like it has segments cut into it that you see Aztec warriors used to have back in the day. They're made out of bone. It's not a chainsaw, of course, but it has that kind of... It's almost like if primitives did a sculpture of a chainsaw blade. That's kind of what these things look like. They have a bunch of teeth that goes around like a large bat-looking thing. And that's the...
By the way, something I wouldn't mind getting a hold of.
Well, I'll have to put a picture of it on there so you guys can see it. They're neat. They're like swords, but they've got these large serrated pieces in them that go along them. It reminds you of like a primitive like chainsaw blade wrapped around a sword. It's really neat. In the Aztecs, this was a traditional battle weapon that they had. So,
Are they made out of shark teeth or arrowheads?
it's weird. It doesn't really show exactly. In this one, it just looks like the metal is cut in that fashion as it goes through. It's interesting. I'll put a picture of it in chat later. What are you doing on your turn? You don't have anyone here to soothe this, possibly? Sylowen, you are going to be halfway out of the water because Brahmus did not openly mention that he was helping you out. Unfortunately, because he's just inconsiderate and terrible. So it'll take you at least half your movement to get the rest of the way out of here. And just so you know, the ceilings in this place, in this chamber over here, are 20 foot tall. Okay, which is 2 times the height of a basketball rim. Just so you know. Having said that, Brahmus, go ahead.
I'm going to operate my overdrive first and foremost for
Nice.
rated weaponized strike. Brahmus is going to step forward with a really hard stomp. And he's going to sling magic missile as his
Okay.
sword scrapes against the ground, and when he makes that upward cleave,
Okay.
those missiles come flying.
Go ahead and do it, buddy. Roll for hit for the magic missile. You know the level of it. You know what you got to roll. Tell me what you get, and I'll tell you if you hit. Which one you aiming for? The one on the left or the one on the right?
Gonna be the one on the left.
Okay, that is going to be the one that has that club-like bladed weapon.
Cannot remember for the life of me if that's a first level cast. We got a rope here.
It'll tell you at the level you are what level you can cast those at. I think you have to roll bigger dice and stuff like that.
Right. Weaponized strike 1d6, not increasing. 2 spells from the list.
So I think more damage, damage to Brahmus that he takes, the more it pushes the spell. Correct?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
I can't find it right away, so I'm just gonna say it's a first level cast for the time being.
Okay.
Which is 3 darts that automatically hit, 1d4 plus 1 force damage apiece.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
So 3d4 plus 3.
Ryan, I'm sorry, but I just realized you added the my retro casting document.
It's all good.
There's 13 points of force damage.
Nicely done, buddy. The thing is visibly shaken and seems to not be completely dismissed or vanquished at this point, but you did weaken the spirit's connection to this plane as you're able to hit it, and those almost looks like, Brahmus's version of rocket launcher practically as you do that. They come up out of the hand and go in that direction and hit him. Now, is that, when you cast it in that way, is that your action or is that an attack when you do it in
I
this?
believe it's just a bonus action.
Okay, awesome.
It's using the overdrive.
Which is outstanding. So you've taken the damage from your overdrive to Brahmus's body, and you've done that to him, and that was how much again?
13, I think.
Okay, so I thought you said, okay, good. Now what are you doing?
I'm going to follow it up. Like as he does that upward swing with the sword, he's going to take a few extra steps forward, and he's going to go ahead and follow it through with a downward slice.
Okay, so you got 5, 10, 15. 15 foot would get you into range of them because you have an extra range with your weapon. So 15 foot of movement.
Yep.
Okay. 5, 10, 15. And then you're taking another swipe with your sword?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is your sword considered a magical weapon?
It is.
Because you're a paladin at that level and it always does extra radiant damage, correct?
That it does.
Go ahead and roll your attack roll. It's like we know each other. All right.
So that is going to be a 17 to hit.
Let me double check something. $17 just misses. Okay? Because remember, these things don't have a breach.
Right.
They're all front-loaded. Okay? So as the weapon comes down and goes to slice through, you are put off from the narrowing shape of the hallway. And as you come to him, he is able to take a step back as your sword sends sparks down the side of the stone and your sword lands in the ground between where his feet were for your first attack. Now what do you do?
You'll take it back up.
Okay, go ahead.
How does a 30 sound?
A 30 hits. Okay, go ahead and roll damage for that attack, and you can add stuff to that if you would like.
Alright. How did it look? Is it looking kind of wispy?
Well, I'll tell you when you roll damage. Because you stirred the pot before.
They showed up first.
Yeah.
So this that is 15 slashing. And an additional 4 radiant.
Okay, he looks rough. Ooh. As you go through and do that, when you do, he is using a reaction. And as that happens, you hear him say some other shouting words that echo off as he expels himself, but it has the effect of a hellish rebuke, kind of like explosion of that ghost power in trying to push you off and keep you from moving forward in this manner. I need you to roll me. What is the check for hellish rebuke? Is it a wisdom or is it a constitution?
I believe it's dexterity.
It's dexterity. Go ahead and roll that for half or full. And I'll tell you what the DC is here in just. Well, I won't tell you what the DC is, but okay, go ahead. It's not too bad. You can beat it.
18 plus 7. So
You got it.
Okay.
DC was only a 14. He rolled really low on his D20. Half damage. Just a minute. And this goes straight through. This is necrotic damage, okay? And that is this dice. Oh, dude, you lucky bastard. I rolled a 3 and a 1 on my 2d10s. 6 halved is 3. Shit. 3 necrotic damage from the burst of this spirit, and the one on the left, number 5, seems to dissipate. You've used 2 attacks and 1 bonus action and 15 foot of movement. What are you doing?
Oh. Thought it'd been cool if it'd been like, oh, I'll just use my reaction for your reaction, but it disappeared. So
Right. Point
there you
blank.
go. That is it for me for the moment.
Okay, Sylowen, you are... No, you are not next. That spirit is gone. So now it is the spirit's turn. This is the one that had the pole on. This is going to be an interesting spirit, lance versus lance. This is going to be nice. So this one charges, and as he picks himself up, Jeremy, you can see that in a minute, as he gets ready to charge at you, he bears down, and where his eyes, his empty ghostly eyes, were meeting yours, all of a sudden as he goes down, the eyes of the jaguar mask that he wears are locked onto yours. It's as if you're looking in a Takari. Okay? And as he goes to pounce and go through you, he becomes the shape of a ghostly Takari as he jumps through your body. Okay? Need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw. And the DC is higher than last time.
Well, it's a nat 1.
Okay. Okay. So, with that, you take... Just a minute. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. 21 points of necrotic damage as it leaps through in that form. Okay? And as he does, he appears on the other side of you as he passed through your body. Here's what's crazy. You see, like, the flooded image of him pass through inside of Brahmus. Like he breaches the interior wall, and that spirit of that Takari is inside of that room with you for just a moment as you see it phase from one spot to the other as it passes through there. Okay? As it jumps... Go ahead.
An interesting thought.
Go ahead.
I'm able to see him pass as Mirk through the inside of Brahmus.
Yes, sir, you are.
Could I make an attempt at an abolishing strike to trap him inside Brahmus?
Do you have that reaction?
I do.
Yes. God, yes, that would be awesome. That would be amazing. Dude, yeah, that's cool.
I don't know that it stops him, but...
You being that creative, roll good, bud. That's neat, dude. That's fucking sweet. I like it. Go ahead, please.
To counter an attack that would hit you.
Jump through me. Haha. Spiritual too.
I abolish you.
And
It is only a flesh
since
wound.
it jumps through and hits Mirk, I take half necrotic damage.
What is it?
I take half necrotic damage.
Okay. Well, he hit Brahmus.
Oh, gotcha. Let's see.
So you may take half that, but Brahmus takes, the body takes full.
By adding 1d10 to your ACP. But say since that wasn't, how do you want to roll that? Since that wasn't exactly an attack against my armor class.
For a moment call, I'll just go ahead and roll a basic attack for him. Okay, so let's make it a 10. Let's make this a passive attack.
Okay.
Fair enough. So with that, that's going to be a 17.
Okay.
That's what his attack roll would have been passively, just jumping through. Does that hit you?
It does not hit Mirk.
Okay.
Mirk's
So
got
now you have a
22.
chance to react, correct?
Okay.
Okay, and go ahead and do that.
Let's see.
That's neat. I would have never thought of that. That's cool. And it's just was a whim that I wanted the ghost to be able to go through, which makes sense in this instant. And you're like, no, man, Mirk's taking his reaction. That's really
you
neat.
came into my home.
Yeah. Trick or
So
treat.
in this instance, since it didn't hit, it would be a counter strike, right?
Yes.
Since it counters an unsuccessful attack.
Correct.
Using the opponent's failed roll as a bonus modifier to the attack.
Yes. And he rolled a 17.
So I would roll an attack and use how much of his as a bonus.
Yeah, so what was your armor class primary?
Armor class primary was a 23.
Okay, it was a +6. You nasty. You rolled
It's a 33 because of a natural 20.
Okay.
So a 39 in total.
Jesus, the game is broken. The game is broken. That's awesome, though, bud. That's killer. Paint me a picture.
I like to think that as this thing comes through and it lets out that phasing damage on Brahmus's body.
Yes.
As soon as it comes in and Mirk catches the eye of it, I'd almost think that he would manifest that spiritual greatsword of his and then kind of give it that sideways.
Well, hello there.
That is awesome. That is
It's like Obi-Wan. Hello there.
yeah. So with that, the apparition completely splits into two, and you hear the twisted howl of it go off there, as it almost sounds like the howl of an actual Takari spirit. From the other side, Sylowen, as you're bracing yourself for this, and you're starting to push yourself up out of the water, trying to get your lance into your hands and prepare yourself, you see just what looks like the cloak and the mantle of this thing fly out of the other side. Just the headdress and stuff that it would have had on, as it flies out the other side and dissipates into and just turns into like a ghostly mist, as if it was getting ready to come at you and fly in your direction as you would have kind of prepared yourself, and it dissipates. With that, we'll go ahead and move over.
Oh, really quick, I think that she may have like an auditory response to that real quick.
Please do. What is it?
I think she just sees it disappear. She sees that there's no ghost on the other side. I think she's like, Mirk, are you still in there?
Oh, dude, he could have so much fun right now. Mirk, what are you doing?
I promise.
Yeah.
Mirk is standing stone still.
You ornery fucker. That's so brilliant. So, Sylowen, as you're pondering that, and you don't know if maybe he's possessed, as you're looking at the large Mekon lumbering back of Brahmus facing into this hallway, as you're standing there, the water dripping off of your hair is the only noise in this place now, as your words echo, lingering out, Mirk.
And I would like to preface this by imagining that Mirk, having for the first time seen something enter Brahmus like that, he's kind of standing there like John Travolta in that one thing where he's got his coat in his hand, he's looking around.
Yeah, right. No, I get it.
No,
Yeah.
it's not even recognizing that she's talking. He's just like, what the hell just happened?
Yes. That's awesome. Scrolling to the other group. That's so funny, man. Danny, you heard this yelling and stuff. Now, what's the last words after Sylowen yelled for you two? What were her last words to you?
She's sending Karsu to us, so he started sprinting that way. Like, why are you sending the Scion out by herself? It's got to be.
Kiltusk, what were you doing in this moment as he took off?
I think it was just standing in the doorway. Or the
Right here?
entranceway. Yeah.
Okay. With that,
Because
Karsu,
he would be standing. He would be standing there because, like,
make sure that nothing else is like coming our way because she yelled to them.
Okay, fair point. Fair point. With that, Bastille, you're running up that direction, and Karsu meets you with somewhat of an urgent look. Do you say anything first, or do you let her talk first?
What is it?
Well done. You're right. She looks at you and says, Sylowen saw it flash in the water, and she chose to jump in and join him. I haven't seen anything. I've not seen anything yet come from the water since she's went in.
I don't know what's going on there, so I gotta
holds her hand to her head. And Sylowen, you hear this. Sylowen, have you found him? Are you okay?
She's like,
You have 25 words to respond.
okay. I think she's like, I'm fine. Lungs slightly out of breath, but okay. He's okay. I'm trying to think how many words I have left.
That's good. Keep going. I'll tell you when you're out.
Okay. Fought ghosts.
Turn him barbaric.
Not
Me,
sure.
good. Fought ghosts. Bad. That's awesome. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Not sure if there's a ghost inside of him.
Whoop. And then you're done. Okay. So, now listen, I want to say I cannot help but say this. If you've ever watched Critical Role and you have seen Jester do this shit, it is one of my favorite things in the world. Because she's a quirky character and always fucks it up. And it's so great. And in that tradition, thank you, Sylowen, for bringing a bit of that happiness to our game. Thank you very much. Yeah, mixed emotions from that one. She opens her eyes and she looks to you, Bastille, with a bit of confusion, which is an odd characteristic to see on Karsu. That's not something she usually, radiates. And she says to you, I believe they're okay, but something about facing ghosts, but I believe them to be safe.
Pencil. I'm all out of
What are you
pencils.
doing, Bastille?
Well, if they're fighting ghosts on the other side, there must be air to breathe. And we're the dead end other than a medallion, so let's go.
Okay, so how you doing? Are you doing a run and dive, or what are you doing?
No, he's
Kill Tusk is like, what the hell, man? Everyone just loves that water.
Gotta grab pencils.
That'd be
So this kid's gonna blind fire into the water with a blink arrow and hopefully and praise to the gods that he's the other side.
Shoot a blink arrow through the hallway of water. And yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so Bastille, and no hurry here, but what are you doing?
he's gonna have to try to swim it. I was looking like the only thing I could figure out is maybe make Mage Hand try to hold some air, but it's pretty flimsy.
Is that what you're doing? Please tell me it is.
That would be awesome, but
Do we have a big enough
Mage
jar?
he's gonna try to swim it.
Okay.
We got big enough jars that we could do the Pirates of the Caribbean and just hold it over our head.
Right on.
Oh.
Hold on, Bella. We can't hear you. What'd you say?
Sorry. I'm like, don't you have that flask thing that you just filled with normal water?
Yes.
Couldn't you fill that with just dump out the water and then have air?
And the thing is,
They're
too,
sealed.
Danny, you have to. Is it a sealed one?
I'll use Mage Hand to seal it.
Okay. So, go ahead and cast Mage Hand to seal to keep this sacred water separate from dilution in this aquatic journey you're getting ready to take. I have no other way of putting it. Roll
so
to
it is
cast the
sacred
spell.
then.
That would be a dirty 20 with bonuses.
Okay, that is a successful, if not very good, casting of the spell. You are able to use Mage Hand to cling to the vase and keep and keep the water in and keep the bad water out. That's it. Yes, we're in grade school. That is what we're absolutely.
Because it's a smart ass, it's probably giving it a thumbs up while it's at it.
God, it's so many titles for the video. So many titles, and I can only be one. It's amazing, Danny.
I do have 2 jars.
Would you stop? Anyway, moving on. Yeah, it's an over 18 episode, everyone. That's right.
Is Big Brahmus house one of the
Shocking
options?
grasp.
That's funny. I don't give a shit who you are. See, when Bella buries her head, it's just funny. Time to go to bed, Colby. Sorry, bud. Anyway, moving on. So, moving forward, this wholesome adventure we're on.
That is systematic.
Would you just drink your beer and stop? Jesus, jumped up. Okay. So, moving forward, you've got your hand. Roll me a dexterity check first to see how well your propulsion is here. How well you do this.
24 for dexterity.
Very, very good. Now, you're going to do me two constitution checks, and here's why. And this is debatable. Jeremy, as a fellow DM, I'll ask you. The constitution to hold his breath to be able to get from one end to the other is only a 10 because he rolled so high on his dex. Like I said, for every 5 you beat that DC, it drops the other. But he also has to maintain concentration on the mage hand, unless the spell says otherwise, right? Does the spell say it's concentration? I believe it is.
I know by default, the ability to hold breath is based on the modifier you have for your constitution. It's like 1 minute per point.
Right.
But that alters dramatically if you didn't get a good breath prior to submerging.
Right. So those mechanics aren't the ones I'm
the
really...
duration of 1 minute, so concentration is not a factor for mage.
It says concentration up to 1 minute, so it is a factor.
I think what it means. You can cast Mage Hand and it sticks around for a minute before.
Well, you focus on it, yes. So what I'm going to do is this.
You have to, like you command it. It's separate of you, but you make commands. It's not concentration.
Are we sure?
Yeah, it's just a simple conjuration.
So there's no concentration on it, Jeremy? Okay.
No. It's just one of those things, you conjure it, it's here for a minute, and then it's gone.
Okay, and you have commanded it to hold on to that flask and keep the water inside of it, right? And you did a good casting of it. Roll me a constitution to see how your swim across goes. DC's 10 because you're good dex.
So I rolled twice before.
What?
When you said originally roll 2 deck or constitution checks, I rolled twice. Can I take the higher of those, or do you want me to re-roll?
Oh my God, what are you doing to me? All right, listen. Moving forward, when you roll something, you tell me what it is before you roll again. So what we're going to do now is, you're going to roll a third time, and that's the one that counts.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you get?
With bonuses, an 18.
Okay. You're able to get across.
The reason I asked that is when you said roll 2 constitution checks, I rolled it, and then you said a DC of 10, and I would have failed one of those by 1.
Okay, I get you.
Well, I was asking whether you...
Point made. So, in the future, every roll, I need to know afterwards. Okay?
I just passed a fucking constitution check. We need a celebration.
Well, it looks to me like you're already started. So, we're pretty good. We're good with the celebrations. As you are able to make it across, Sylowen. God, this is so good. Since you are not completely up out of the water yet, the scares just keep building up. As you are on the other side, you emerged, scared the shit out of Mirk. You're halfway in the water. You're having this pinpoint moment. You don't know if Brahmus is haunted or not. The water is dripping out. You're looking up like that, and then all of a sudden, Bastille, with, I will say you passed it, but it's still going to be hard to show us how you emerge out of the water, and I will have Sylowen do a charisma check to see if you don't scare the hell out of her as well.
He's coming out of the water as fast as he can, reaching for it like, oh, fuck, there's the air.
Okay. So as he bursts through the surface, you see her. You can see her legs as you're going through, like she's halfway up out of the water. Okay. When you emerge, you would emerge beside her in that chamber. Let me go ahead and move you here for a minute. Let me move you up here. And there you are. And you would see this kind of silent moment as she would be just kind of stationary, looking at Brahmus's back, as there is no movement currently coming from him as you emerge from the water. I'm going to let you three decide how this goes from here. Go ahead and role play. And you also have this room up here ahead. When you're ready to, Mirk, I'll open this up for you when you're ready to look ahead. So how do you guys want this scene to go?
I'm supposed to roll a d20, right?
Yes.
So I rolled a 13, and my charisma is +3, so 16?
You did fine. It did not startle you.
Yeah, I think she's like, oh, hey. And she's like watching, he comes up, just be like she hasn't looked away yet, and she's like, I'm not sure. There was a ghost here a second ago. Now there's not. Brahmus isn't moving. And then I think she glances over and she's like, wait, where's Karsu?
He'll be fine in a couple hours. I've seen him freeze before.
So roll a persuasion check of that one, please. Sylowen, he's trying to just make it sound like everything's going to be fine. Bastille has seen this shit happen before. He's 18. Okay. An 18. If you want to roll a disbelief or you want to roll versus that to see if you're drinking the Kool-Aid, go right ahead.
I think she was kind of like, I'm not too sure, but then she's gotten a bit distracted, like, wait, where's Karsu?
Okay. I'll be right back in a second. Go ahead and role play this out. I'm listening. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she can swim.
So you left her out there by herself?
No. Kiltusk is right behind me.
Is he bringing her?
I don't know.
About that time, Brahmus turns around.
Sylowen immediately is kind of like,
did anybody else see the ghost?
So is he in there with you?
He was.
He's not anymore?
No, I killed him.
Good boy, Mirk.
Well, I'm glad for that, I think.
Mirk, did you use a sword at least?
I did. But I can't say I've ever seen that happen before.
Well,
usually I make the choice.
I think she may kind of be like, well, all right.
That mean you can kill ghosts outside? Hey, this could be useful.
All right, well, you two iron that out.
Into my body.
Go ahead.
Here,
Bella, as they're ironing that
get
out,
a lot of money back in New Gimdar with haunted houses.
What are you doing, Sylowen, as these two are having a discussion over the way they have dispatched spirits in this sacred temple?
Okay, knowing that
we could stop
Brahmus...
dungeon crawling.
Huh?
We could stop dungeon crawling, just get rich. You go into haunted houses, kill the spirits, and I'll collect them.
Okay, yeah, she's definitely taking this side.
I know, I get it.
So knowing that Mirk and Brahmus are fine, and they're not possessed currently, and they're not alone, I think she's gonna get set up and vault back across again, but try to take a deeper breath this time.
Okay. Go ahead and before you do that, Brahmus, are you going ahead and looking forward? Okay. As you do. And Bastille, do you want me to put you up there beside him so you guys are having a conversation, or do you want to do it to where you're from, sir?
But he gets to read it this time.
Right on, which is cool. Where do you want your character to be at, boss? Before we do this, you want to be up out of
Behind
the water?
Brahmus.
Huh?
I'll just stick right behind Brahmus because apparently he can absorb ghosts now, and that's a safer position to be in.
It is good. I mean, obviously, if you could be behind someone that absorbs ghosts, that's where you want to be. So there you are.
Get a guard dog for this place now.
Right on. Moving forward, let's go ahead and do with the map, and I will unlock that room for you so you can see it.
Did you just say you're the guard dog for this place?
Need a guard dog for this place. Talk about inside of Brahmus.
Okay, and here we go.
And technically, we do have a guard dog. It's called the poncho I'm wearing.
Let me grab something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. And this is going to be T20. And I'll go to this and I'll let you read it, Jeremy. Just a minute. And when I get it centered, I'll tell you. And then you can jump in here. Jeremy, go ahead.
An ancient Atlati statue stands high above a pool of ominous liquid, as the faint image of Makan gears lies beneath the surface. Just as you begin to further inspect the secret room, a pair of Atlati spirits emerge from the floor, and they begin to make their way towards you, the front of the central stairway.
Okay. So, now, having said that, your loud noises have already drawn those two out. So that part of the text has already been triggered. But you do see an Atlati statue of an Atlati warrior here with a spear pointing down towards the ground. Okay? With torchlight reflecting shadows off this thing in two different ways. And in front of you, up a set of stairs, is yet again another set of gears and a pool of acid. Or this arcane type fluid, whatever you'd like to call it. It doesn't seem like we found the actual name of this stuff.
I'm going to turn around and look at Bast. Let me try it first.
Before you try the whole bath, why don't you
We're
use
going to dip a finger.
No, like a cup at a time. You've already got a bunch of it. Bathe an arm, dip it up. Bathe another arm, dip it up.
Well, I'll do a finger first to see how it works. And if it works well, I'm taking a bath.
He's just now starting his science project.
I've got to get the gears out anyway.
Okay. So,
Brahmus sounds like a very good idea to me.
While he's doing that, I'm going to stealthily take the mage hand that's already got its finger in there, have it grasp that thing and pull it around so it's just a couple inches over the water. So if he decides to go in and start screaming, I can crush it.
okay, so I'm a little bit confused, and I'm going to ask for some clarity. Okay. Crush what?
Or dump it either way. But the glass flask or the ceramic flask that I've got full of holy water.
Oh, so you're where you have it, your hand over it, sealing it still. You're wanting to maneuver it over top of the liquid and get ready to jerk. You've only got a few seconds of it left. You only had a minute. Okay, but if you guys do this right, I'll go ahead and give it to you just for the flavor of the moment, okay? Because you have to think, 60 seconds, you guys are having this debate over if he's a ghost ship and all this different stuff. Sylowen's kind of doing her thing, getting ready to swim back across. So time is elapsing, is what I'm getting ready to say. But for flavor, I'm okay with letting you hold that there, but it's going to be for just a few brief moments, okay?
This is going to be quick actions from Brahmus. It's going to be, I'm going to dip a finger. If it does the same thing as what's in his bottle, then he's stepping into the whole thing and submerging.
Okay. When you
And
dip your finger
then he's
into
going to
this,
refill his little bottle of it.
when you dip your finger into this, at first, you kind of watch in a little bit of wonder as your finger begins to clean itself.
What is that?
The dull stone faded color that the exterior of Brahmus has after all the years gives way to almost like a shiny pearl white color on the stone, and the metal in itself begins to gleam into the joints and surrounding of the finger. Do you hold it there? Do you push in further?
If just the finger works, yeah, I'm going to dip the whole hand.
Okay.
Because as a matter of fact, if the finger works, I'm going to take out that bottle that he's got.
Okay.
Once he knows it's the same stuff, he's going to go ahead and dip his hand in and fill the bottle.
Well, okay, but when you do, although the exterior begins to look good, you do sense that there is damage being done internally as you put your hand in further into the substance. Now, it is making the outside look great, but the inside's not holding up as well.
Okay.
And in
So
that,
knowing
you're going
that-
to, the Brahmus is going to take 4 points of acid damage to his internal.
Okay.
When you go to put more in than the finger. But that finger, the outside of it, looks amazing.
Yeah. So knowing that, he would have refilled the bottle he's got, so he's actually got a full bottle of it,
Okay.
and then would have looked at Bast.
Okay.
There's parts of me this won't work for.
Okay. Danny, are you releasing this blessed water into the pool?
Quickly pull it back to me, and I catch it in my hand.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
fine.
like, okay, we know now it hurts you, but the metal parts it'll fix. Take your time, fix those, and then I'll dump this. And as he does that, he pulls out that gem that he's been trying to give you for a while. Put this in your eye, and when you rub that over, maybe it'll seal it. I don't know. No, Cameron.
Worth a try.
Okay.
And that's what he'll do is he'll take a little bit of time using it on the metallic parts of his body, and then at the end of doing all that, he'll fix the gem like Bast is instructing him to, and then try to use that fluid on that area to see.
Okay. This is interesting. Because what you're doing is you're practically detailing yourself in a vat of this highly potent stuff that helps some things and hurts other things. And what tools are you using to do this with?
Is Brahmus taking a sponge bath currently?
But that's what I'm getting at. I don't know if you have a sponge, if you have a paintbrush, if you have... I'm curious how you're applying this and how you're doing this, because there's going to be
got
skill
that
checks
bottle.
involved.
He's
You
got
do
the
have-
bottle.
You have that flask that
And-
has the lining.
Yep, he's basically dripping it in places that it needs to be. And then the more fine-tuned areas, he'd be having Bast help him.
Okay.
Yeah. Get my back.
Okay. So
Can you soak my back?
I want to go ahead. I want to go ahead and paint this picture. I've
As
heard
he
enough.
closes his eyes, he's
No,
like,
listen. As a DM, I've heard enough where I'm gonna take this, okay? And I just want you fuckers to know that you asked for this. Painstakingly and slowly begged for it. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you what this, as Bella beautifully put it, this D&D sponge bath appears to look like. Now, Sylowen, I'm going to give you a chance to think about maybe not swimming as you get to see the bromance that's unfolding in the room north of you. So I don't want you to miss the show. I want you to be able to tell Kiltusk about this later.
Oh, absolutely. Like, from her perspective, I think that she's, like, far enough, like, she can see down the hallway, and I'm just picturing, like, this, like, literally, like...
All right. Let's get some fucking dice in place in D&D. Okay, so...
See, while all this is happening, me and Garcia are going to be like, what's taking them so long?
Yeah, and what it is, it's, well... Okay.
I'm just picturing, like,
Still
you know those, like, little...
Brahmus.
You know those, like, diving hands that you do when you have to, like, jump off, like, a diving board?
Yes.
So I'm picturing she's literally mid-diving board hands towards it, and she looks down, and she's just like...
You hear these words, "get my back." And you're like, I can wait. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so... As this happens, I need that's the hardest I've ever heard Jeremy laugh, ever. I want Jeremy
over there about to pass out.
I want you to roll me a sleight of hand check, Brahmus. And you need to do this 3 times at least. Okay. And tell me what the total is of each one of those.
Dirty 20 for the first.
Okay.
16 for the second.
Okay.
And a 13 for the last.
Okay. 36, 40, 49. 16. Overall, 16 point. Yeah, okay. Okay. For that, in the process of doing this, I want to hear overall what parts of your exterior that you're hoping to cleanse and make look anew, and what the overall goal is here, because we've never really talked about, you having parts that are tarnished to the point of unoperation. So what I'm trying to do and get from this is, maybe by this cleaning, when they are researching you or Ignatius is working on you, maybe there's some things that become visible that weren't visible before. That's the spin I'm trying to give you for your effort here. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not like, all of a sudden, hey, you look great. But I want there to be some purpose to this, and that's what I'm giving you.
As long as Mirk has been piloting Brahmus, of course he knows the wear and tear. He knows that there are damages that rest has not been able to fix. Like, it's just time wear.
Yeah.
This body is not by no means an infinite construction. And so he's focusing on the joints to be able to keep his sword arm oiled, basically. Because he knows he's used that sword arm a lot. Yes, so to be able to rejuvenate that.
Okay,
to be able to rejuvenate the legs. Things like that.
Okay, I'm going to give that the 20. The 16. Tell me about the second thing. And you're going to have to make us up because you're the one putting me through this shit. So 16 is based on what? Which one are we doing for the eyes?
I think the eye would be the second part. That would
16.
be after he's got the joints good and he's tested everything out and he's realizing, kind of the even just the slightest better movement.
He reaches up to do the eyes. Bast would be like, why don't you let me do that? I can see from the outside.
So roll that one more time, Jeremy. You get advantage on that.
Okay.
It was a 16. If you do better, let me know.
17.
17. Okay. That works.
I'm gonna go check my...
Okay. In doing that, I will say that there are pieces of the old lens that were stuck in there that Bastille was able to help remove and get a clean socket from. You are going to find places of which the lens sat, but you do not see particularly, Bastille, without that gem being fashioned to fit his other lens that goes in, it wouldn't just go in here and fuse. It is a material that could work, but it would need to be crafted in the fashion of the other one. And then now that this has been cleaned and the old pieces removed and taken away from where it had broken, almost like the frame of glasses. I'm just trying to be imaginative here. Now you know the vessel would be ready if this were a properly crafted gem.
He rolls it around and he says, "This still isn't going to fit. We'll have to have someone else fix it."
Okay, and you understand that?
It makes
It's
perfect
not
sense.
like, no, it
No,
doesn't.
just any gem. It would have to be like a specially cut kind of deal.
And, there are people, possibly in New Gimdar or some other places that could do that.
Well, I've got 3 of them, so they got 3 attempts.
And there's also Makati people you may meet in the future. There's all kinds of things. I mean, there's people that sculpted this shit in here. And some of them could be surviving. So,
I think the last thing that he'd be doing is just
overall wear and tear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the bonuses you get for passing all 3 of these. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next time you roll hit points for Brahmus, you get advantage on the roll. Make a note of that. Okay? Ones are rerolls.
Yeah, it looks a lot like short person.
Okay.
Sure.
Right now you are going to get I gotta make sure it's feasible, but it's not too much. You understand?
But I think the last time we did it, he gave me like 3 temporary hit points.
Yeah, well, this is a little different.
Yeah.
You were talking particularly about your swinging arm and trying to work on that and clean that up and do things of that nature. And Sylowen, are you adding in on this and watching this kind of go down as it went from, and I like things being silly, and this kind of still is in a way, but I'm trying to give this a sincere effect to the best of my ability. Are you joining in on this or giving any input as this is going on, or throwing a smart-ass comment in any way at these two?
I think she's kind of mystified on she's a little confused what's happening, but I think I don't think she's saying anything and also hopping in yet. I think it's that sort of like,
she's like, no, you guys you're good. Yeah. Okay.
you guys are fine. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Let me think about what the 20 did. Okay, because I have some ideas, but it can't be too much. But it's something I've got an idea for. I will give you. Yeah, I'll make a note here. I think it's going to be 1 extra skill point to put towards something dexterity based on your level up. So go ahead and write that down. 1 additional skill point from the dirty 20 on the cleaning of the joints, having to do with your ability to attack and things of that nature. Okay, sure. We're going to make that, and then you would definitely notice, Bastille, that it is strange. The finest Atladi totems in here, and that white substance that the floors was made of, and different things and whatnot. The brilliant pearl white kind of coloration of some of the parts of Brahmus, once colored, are very, very familiar to that same kind of substance, which even goes even further to show you that these people that built this stuff were onto something. They've seen one of these before. The real deal, which you kind of knew in the back of your head is kind of maybe. You needed to see it to believe it. But this really drives that point home to Bastille. Now that you're seeing the similarities of a fresh and so clean version of Brahmus. Okay? I'll give you that. And with that, it's like 10:18. I think we'll go ahead and cut it for tonight. And we'll start off. You guys can give some more pondering about this kind of thing. And we'll start off with the way you're going to deal with this water or this substance.
Would be great.
And what Kiltusk and all them are going to be doing when this is over, when we start the next episode.
Quick before we go, Brahmus, refill your container.
Okay. You can go ahead and write that down.
Because
And
I got a feeling that substance is going to be worth a bunch when we get back to New Gimdar.
Could be. Do you want to go ahead and put in that water before we end tonight and purify this, or do you want to hold off?
Sure.
Okay. So as you do, let me go ahead and do this real quick. Just a moment. Hidden chambers. Left underwater stairway. Cleanse water. And as you add several different pours and drops of that vessel that you filled up that the hand was covering Danny, it takes half of it to do that. And the water itself begins to change color and purify. After, of course, he has got from it and collected another vial of the fluid to begin with. So remember, you're down to half of one now. You've still got water to go back through. So it's probably going to take another casting of that to cover it up. Okay. You've got another one of the things of acid on you now that you got before he purified it. Okay. Sylowen has a lot of things to think about. And then we have the other parts of this moving forward. Are you guys okay with the way I handled that? I know it was silly. I didn't mean to turn it into a serious thing. I don't think I did. But I just tried to give it some function and purpose because that's what you handed me. Okay? So are we good?
Oh, yeah.
You are muted. Okay. Jeremy.
Mirk's whole thought process was, I have been in this beat up Chevy for a couple hundred years.
It's true.
Let's give it that new car smell.
Dude,
Brahmus has been good to me.
so
I'm going to be good to Brahmus.
Now I think the episode has to be called New Car Smell. I'm writing it down. New Car Smell. Jesus. I don't think there's a better one than that. That's all right. Okay. God.
There is one other alternative where you do.
I'm ready. I'm ready. What is it before we end the video, please?
I mean, at that point, you just do bro sponge bath because that's also kind of what happened.
The bro sponge.
New car smells and
hashtags or hashtag bro sponge.
New cars and bro sponge and bro baths.
Oh my.
Bro
like
baths.
lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Right?
New car smelling bro baths. Perfect.
Oh my. Yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, if you were able to bear through all that, thanks for hanging out and watching the video. I appreciate it as always. I'm Brian Kynes, here to say thanks, lastly. And like I say, next Sunday is Christmas, so you guys enjoy your family and holidays. And then we will see you in the new year. And we will get into the next chapters of this, and we'll get into some Plan B and see how that group's doing. And from the folks here that are awesome and part of this group, happy holidays, everyone. We'll see you.
Don't forget to leave out milk and cookies for Santa Claus and an oil can for your favorite construct.
All that. Everything you just said. Later.